2-minute drill. Highlight reel, let's review. What's the deal, okay? Watching footage going out of control. Buckle up, we got an hour to go, so let's go. That's straight heat. Ain't no chillin' around here. Back that back, Nat Chance, how we feelin' around here? Got my whole squad in the building around here. If my name ain't on it, then I really don't care. Come on. 3-point stance, we advance. Ball in my hands, I don't take no chance. Touchdown dance, that's my jam. No hot takes, this is nothing but rants. Nothing but rants. Nothing but rants. Nothing but rants. The G on the beat, hey. Yeah.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to MBR, or as we like to call it around here, Nothing But Rants, the show where I find topics that I'm oddly passionate about and I pontificate upon them. These are not hot takes, but rather takes that I'm hot about. What's up? You really like that?
Let's shut up and grind some tape.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome into the Film Guy Network, brought to you by our friends over at Hard Rock Bet. We have an absolutely loaded show for you guys, as we always do, but it is a special night here on Tuesday night because week 0 is right around the corner. We got 4 days away from football returning, 2 days away from mid-major football returning.
Yeah.
The West Georgia Wolves going to get after it on Thursday night.
It's Kennesaw State, right?
Kennesaw State. In-state rivalry here in D1AA football in the state of Georgia. College football is here. A little round of applause for college football season finally being here. We're going to talk about everything but football for the first 10 minutes of this show. But, hey, that's the way it's been with the NCAA and college sports as of recent. But we have a great show for you guys tonight with college football returning. We have predictions tonight. We're going to make some predictions on week 0 football. We also have our Elite 11 SEC edition quarterback rankings. It would have been a top 10, but I felt like I would have gotten way too much smoke for not adding the 11th onto this list. And I do believe it. I think he's going to be inside that top 10 guy by the end of the year, but felt like he was worthy of mentioning, especially because of his football team. We have week 0 predictions. Already said that. We got news to talk about on the NFL dropouts forefront and Vandy Naden starting quarterback. I'm sure there's tons of Commodore fans in the chat tonight itching to hear us talk about their starting quarterback. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Make sure you're subscribing if you haven't already. And if you haven't told a friend about this place, please feel free to do so. Make sure you're hitting that like button first and foremost, though, right? We've already uploaded multiple times today. People probably not getting notifications that we are live. Shame on them for not setting their entire lively schedules around this place. But hit that thumbs up button. Maybe we'll get put in front of some new folks tonight. That is the aspiration, at least. All right, let's get into it, boys. The Big Ten last night had an absolute PR layup coming out with a rule, and then just before about these NFL players coming back to college football, they did write in a neat little stipulation about signing an NFL contract. Had nothing really to do with whether or not you've been in an NFL camp or whether or not you've worn an NFL jersey. You can do all that. You just can't sign a contract in the Big Ten, and the reason that's important is because UCLA has a linebacker that went to some NFL camps but didn't sign a contract. So now he's back in college football with the UCLA Bruins, and the SEC followed suit today. What's up with this, by the way? I guess we could take a brief pause here. Why is Greg Sankey constantly allowing Tony Petitti to dunk on him in a public fashion? What's up with that? Why issue the statement last night and then wait for the Big Ten to actually implement a rule? Why not just come right out and implement a rule?
Is it really getting dunked on, though?
I mean,
it's not getting dunked on, but
Jonathan, it opens you up for the door of people saying, look at Greg Sankey following the lead of Tony Petitti.
Yeah, no, I mean,
yeah, but they also gave the statement first and said that they were going to come to a conclusion the next day. That's my whole point. You know, like I'm just saying, like they made the statement first, said that they were going to make a decision, and I also think it had to do with the fact that they were meeting yesterday. The SEC presidents were, or at least they were going to start their meetings. It wasn't planned for them to discuss any of that day. So
it wasn't planned for the Big Ten. Tony Petitti issued the rule before he even took the vote.
Well, I mean, the Big Ten beat the SEC to the punch, and good on the Big Ten for being the first one to do so. And
Jonathan, it was
a layup.
and I'm not trying to debate you here, but it was such a PR win for the Big Ten that Paul Feinbaum called it yet another national championship this morning on ESPN's First Take. That's how much of a Big Ten win it was.
Well, I mean,
the SEC spokesman called this a Big Ten national championship this morning.
I mean, it's certainly like a Big Ten win. They're setting and keeping the precedent that they're the trailblazers in the sport. I mean, I remember an era when the SEC was the first to make all these decisions. I don't think this was the SEC sat on its hands and waited too long and waited for the Big Ten to make their decision. I think it's just that the Big Ten beat the SEC to the punch, which obviously is a win for the Big Ten, but I don't think it's getting dunked on or embarrassing Greg Sankey.
I think the win overall is all of us. It's college football in general, right? Because I think every college football fan, except for LSU fans, agrees that no, once you play NFL football, buddy, it's over. It's done. You can't be flaming out at the NFL level, signing a 3-year, $3.5 million deal with the Philadelphia Eagles before they cut you, and then you go try to make the Browns roster, and you're probably on trajectory to be a practice squad player, and then being like, oh, well, Lane called and said I should probably sue the NCAA for a 5th year, so let me go figure out how to make $900,000, $1 million in college football. That's fugazi. That is not what college football stands for, and not what any college athletics really stand for. And I think that, most importantly, was what the SEC put in their notice today. It was like, hey, if you play in the G League, you're gone. If you play in WNBA circles, you're gone. If you play in Arena Football League, you're gone. Like, you have already made the decision that you are a professional athlete. That's fine. You are not a collegiately professional athlete anymore. That can't be anymore. So I think it's a good news thing for me. The weird thing about this storyline, and we're kind of like, all of our show notes got kind of exploded because the SEC came down with their ruling about 30 minutes ago. But I think the most interesting part about this is I don't even know what I was going to say. That doesn't happen to me very often. What do you think the most interesting thing about this is?
Well, I think the bigger thing, or I'd say the most interesting question that people have is they want to ask the question of, all right, it's great that the conferences came out and said that this isn't allowed, but can they actually enforce it?
I know what it is. Most interesting thing about this to me is that this got voted on 16-0 apparently per recent reports. I saw one of the national analysts today say this was 13 to 2 to 1. 2 saying we're cool with them coming back. 1 saying, I don't know, we'll reserve right to vote for a little bit later. And now it's a 16-0 vote, which is interesting because Lane was like standing on 10, this was going to be done, and then they vote to approve this new ruling, negating their abilities to do this. Do you think LSU turns around and sues their own league?
I don't know. I mean, I didn't see the report that it was 16-0 thing. I will say Lane Kiffin has been one to not expose but abuse rules and utilize them in order to get them changed. We saw this with the faking injuries thing. For a long time, Lane Kiffin's offenses were kind of the victim of that, where defenses, in order to slow them down, in order to stop momentum, would fake injuries to the point where Lane Kiffin said, all right, we're just going to do this every single drive now, to the point where the SEC is forced to do something. So that could be what took place here, where they realized a rule that needs to be changed and took advantage of that. It could also be, like you said, they genuinely just want to get these players on their roster, and we're hoping to do so.
I don't know about you guys, but I don't think I would sue the SEC over Daquan Wright.
No.
I don't know. I mean, he would have to be Tim Tebow for me to be like, yeah, come on, SEC, let's go to war. Let's put our membership at risk potentially over this player. I damn sure wouldn't do it for what would essentially be their second string tight end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not worth it. Not worth the
no.
smoke. And I think that's what they realized today.
And I will say, like, LSU voting for this, like being one of the 16 teams that were in favor of this rule being placed, it does kind of align with what Lane Kiffin said on the Pat McAfee show today, where he was basically like, I don't agree with it. I don't think it's necessarily right for NFL players to be able to return to college football. But if it is allowed, we're not just going to sit on our hands and not take advantage of it. If we can get better, then we're going to do that. So it sounded like he was like, this is stupid. I don't necessarily agree with it, but until we're told we're not allowed to do it, we're going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the sentiment I think that they've kind of – it rings true with Lane Kiffin. Like, take advantage of the rules that you can until you can't and the rules get changed. So, I don't think you're going to get a ton of pushback from anyone here because, like we said, it's depth players, it's fringe starters, it's guys that might replace players that have been injured. It's not a Brendan Sorsby situation where our starting quarterback that we paid millions and millions of dollars for.
The Xavier Harris kid is far more important to their roster potentially than even Daquan Wright is. Like, they have significant inexperience at the interior defensive line positions. They're probably going to play 2 freshmen and the interior defensive line over there at LSU. So if anybody you need to raise, flags for, it's Xavier Harris. But again, don't think anybody is worth going to war with against your own conference, attempting to sue them. I read an article from Football Scoop prior to us going live today because Lane's been very touch and go about how involved he was with this process. I want to read this to you. According to a report Tuesday from CBS Sports, LSU proactively recruited multiple NFL hopefuls to sue the NCAA in hopes of winning the right to return to college football if and when they were cut in training camp. This is from the CBS report. Kiffin and the Tigers reached out to multiple NFL players on NFL rosters or their representation in an effort to get them to bring a lawsuit against the NCAA and to return to school, per sources. This includes some of the players who ended up in a Louisiana lawsuit, which sources have pointed out wasn't tried in Baton Rouge by accident. That's a wild thing to do for a couple of relatively impactful football players.
Yeah, I saw someone follow up.
That's insane to me.
I saw someone follow up that report and said that what also could be enforced is Lane Kiffin and LSU undermining the SEC and the association of those rules. Like, because they went and undermined those rules, that could also be in place here to further, I don't know if it'd be further punishment or anything like that, but to further strengthen their stand on this is not allowed, we're not doing this, and you're definitely not letting those guys play.
You think Lane's going to come out of his pocket to make Daquan Wright and Xavier Harris right? Think they're going to make their pockets right? You think they're going to pay him anyways?
Probably
or
not.
You think he's
I don't think so.
Send them off to the LinkedIn portal and say, sorry, boys, I gave it a run. I know you got, especially you, Daquan, I know you were probably in line to make an NFL practice squad. Don't worry. I'll pay you a league minimum this year. You think that's what's going on? Because Lane cares about the kids, man. Lane's all about the kids.
I don't know. I mean, maybe, but I highly doubt it.
All right, so not Lane. You think Drew Rosenhaus is going to do it? We laid this out last night, by the way. We talked about this. We joked half-heartedly about whether or not, do you think these agents who were in cahoots with this, they were bragging about how these players could be the first players in college football history to return to college football. Rosenhaus's agency has a tweet out about it, bragging about it. You think they're going to pick up that NFL league minimum?
I mean, I don't think they should. You as the player assume this risk. You obviously knowing that would be like, should Texas Tech pay Brendan Sorsby? They might. I mean, I don't think they have to. I don't think they should. You make decisions that affect your career. If a NFL player who is on the fringe of being cut knowingly decides they want to be dismissed from their NFL team to go pursue something that has been very frowned upon, is very spoken out against, that's on you. Yeah, influences by agents and coaches recruiting you, that's fine, but I don't think it's the obligation of the employer to say, hey, we got to make you whole now.
Christian Kirby, F them kids.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying,
are they kids?
They're 22, 23 years old.
Accept responsibility for your actions. You took a risk and it didn't pay off. That doesn't mean that someone else has to mitigate that.
No, I'm with you. I just think that like the agent especially, and it sounds like based off reporting, Lane Kiffin probed these kids to do this.
Mm-hmm. Sure. They were influenced.
The agent probably looked at it, was like, hey, well, $1.2 million, 5% of that is a lot more than 5% of $650,000. You should do this.
Right.
So yeah, man, like I do think there is a little bit of responsibility to own up to there, but we all know they won't. They'll do what Kirby said. Well, your decision. Sorry, tough titty. Which is unfortunate. We'll see. I don't think there's anything left to come of this. I think they move on from this, and that's that. I think it was an all bark, no bite situation. The really interesting part, and I know we're a college football show, but Will Wade now only has 6 of his 12 players eligible to play basketball this season at LSU.
That'll be interesting.
Well, you say that, and then Ross Dellinger just tweeted separately. Downtown is one of the attorneys that is involved with the Louisiana case. Downtown says attorneys are considering the appropriate legal response to hold the Big Ten and SEC accountable for their cartel-like coordination with the NCAA. It is clear that attorneys are poised to file legal challenges against the two conferences. So no, we're not done.
Oh yeah, we'll be talking about this tomorrow.
Who is that?
Let me find his name. Downtown.
Who is the
Ryan Downtown?
This reminds me of when Texas Tech was like, "Yeah, we'll fight our own conference," and then the conference goes out and hires like the second largest law firm in the entire world, and and Texas Tech was like, "We was just playing, dog.
Well,
we weren't serious. We weren't really going to do that."
Well, and since the 16 teams did vote on it, at least in the SEC, since they did vote on it, like, the attorneys may win that for the players, but I think it'd be really weird for your head coach to vote for this to not be allowed and then take them back after saying that this shouldn't be allowed. Like, it may work out for them, but it may not work out to where you can play in this conference.
Also, the punishments won't be brought down on the players themselves.
Right.
By these leagues. It'll be brought down on the school and the coach. That's the punishments on this. For those of you who didn't read it, and that's on us for not mentioning it at the beginning, you get a 50% suspension for the season. You miss half your games as a head coach, and you pay $1 million fine. Ain't nobody doing that over Daquan Wright.
No.
Ain't nobody doing that over a running back from the Seattle Seahawks. Like, that ain't happening. So, yeah, this is a very similar rule to the when guys were thinking about doing the whole, I missed the December portal window, and I'm not going to be a starter now in the spring, so I'll just drop all my classes and enroll at another school. And then NCAA was like, cool, you do that. The coach that you enroll to, 50% of his games, come on back, and $1 million suspension. And everybody's like, oh, never mind. I'll just wait until December. So there still is some power left over these schools, and I think that's relatively good for the sanity of this sport long term. Speaking of sanity, how about some insanity? How about paying a high school quarterback $12 million over 3 years and then sitting him? How about that?
Yeah,
Y'all seen this story?
Yeah.
Blaze Berlowitz, who Diego Pavia says is a king, a god, the next great one, despite the fact that he said the same stuff about Jared Curtis to get him there in the first place. Blaze Berlowitz named the starter at Vanderbilt today over 5-star Jared Curtis, the highest-ranked player in the history of Vanderbilt football. How about that?
This just makes me think either Jared Curtis wasn't necessarily telling the truth when he said that he's going to Vanderbilt because playing time was a factor, or Vanderbilt just straight up lied to him about playing time being a factor for him, like in his freshman season. Now, what I thought was funny is after tweeting out that Blaze Berlowitz is a starting quarterback at Vanderbilt, they then reported that, don't worry, Jared Curtis is going to be playing against Austin Peay too. Like, I sure hope so. I sure hope that Jared Curtis gets to play against Austin Peay. Like, yeah, you ought to be up multiple scores for the second string quarterback, no matter who he is, to get some playing time against Austin Peay.
Yeah, the optics of it are definitely wild to have such a high profile recruit such as Jared Curtis go there for what we all assume is going to be better playing time in comparison to Georgia, where he was committed for so long, and then to also, be paid so much and not start. I do wonder how short the Berlowitz release is going to be. Is this so we're going to try it out for one game and then throw Curtis in and see if he can take over? Like, Georgia did this in 2016 when Jacob Eason, who at the time was the number 1 ranked quarterback in that class, they started Grayson Lambert against UNC. And slowly and surely worked Jacob Eason. And I think he started the second game for the rest of the season. So it could be this situation for Jared Curtis.
I do think there is a possibility here, and we talked about this last night, that maybe they just don't want to play him yet because they don't know if they're going to be able to protect him and keep him upright and surround him with quality enough parts to not scar him. Valid, but that would kind of go against everything Jared Curtis thinks about himself. Like, Jared's he hasn't publicly stated this, but part of the decision to go to Vanderbilt was the city of Nashville is going to be mine. They're paying me a lot of money. They've promised me playing time. And by the way, look where I come from. I've never needed help at all. Right? He went to Nashville Christian, never transferred out, never really had anything around him at all, and went on to win 2 state titles in that classification against better football programs than his. And we talked about this when he committed to Vandy. This is a football player who believes, I can do it. Yeah, cool. Help's great. If you got help, that's awesome. But I'm going to Vandy because I don't need it. I don't need to go to Georgia and play behind a great offensive line and have decent weapons and have a great defense and a great coaching staff. I don't need none of that. I'm going to Vanderbilt. I've proven throughout my entire career I don't need any of this. So I would imagine this would be the first time someone has told them, hey, son, we don't have enough right now. If that is the case, I don't know. Maybe this Blaze Berlowitz kid is that good. Yeah. In that case, I'd be worried if I was Nate Bargatze that I just got duped. But I don't think that's the case. I think this kid's going to be really good at some point. I think there's also a potential that you're right. This is going to be a very short leash. Maybe this is a, hey, tip of the cap. Thanks for sticking around in the program. You're a Commodore guy. You're a part of our community. We're going to let you roll out the first couple weeks against tomato cans, and then we're going to hand the keys over to the future. I have no idea. I just think it's very, very interesting that, you know, the Athletic did report this is a Bryce Underwood-esque deal from an NIL standpoint.
Right.
That means Vandy gave him somewhere around $10 to $12 million for the first 3 years of his college career. That's a lot of money sitting on your bench. That's a lot of money sitting over there on that sideline.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if Vanderbilt is purely doing this to ensure that the betterment of Jared Curtis's future is in mind here, then good on them for not succumbing to, hey, just because we paid this guy a bunch of money means we have to play him immediately. Good on them for doing that and actually thinking ahead and thinking in the best interest of your star player, your future star player. And it could just very well be a slow burn type of deal where it's, hey, we're going to start with Blaze, see how this goes. But just know that Jared Curtis is the ultimate plan here. He is the guy that we ultimately want to be the face of this program and to be the starting quarterback eventually down the road if that's how it ends up being.
Yeah, and if you look at the way their schedule starts, it's Austin Peay, it's Delaware, NC State, Auburn, Georgia. Like the first 5 games just keep progressively getting harder and harder.
Yeah.
I would imagine Jared Curtis starts 75 to 80% of regular season games this year. I think my suspicions are this is at the very least hey, you know what? Let's let Blaze start these 2 games. Jared, you're going to get playing time. You're going to get quality PT. We're going to blow the first 2 teams out. Then we'll see if we're ready to take over. I think that's where this is right now.
When's the Nate Bargatze movie come out? Because I'm trying to see Jared Curtis.
Oh, it's been out.
Oh, on Fubo?
I don't know what he came out on, but
on Tubi?
I have no idea.
It was released in theaters.
Okay.
I mean, he just
I'm trying to see him with the Vandy hat at the local concert.
I'm sure you can rent it from somewhere or stream it from somewhere if you would like to do that.
I'm gonna take a look at it. I'm sure it's a stellar acting performance. We got in a movie before we ever got in a game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's elite. That's elite. Speaking of elite, y'all want to do SEC quarterback rankings?
Let's do them.
Sharpen your pitchforks, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so here's the criteria, if you will. This is 50-50. This is 50% based on what you did last year and 50% based on what I think you're going to do this year. All right. Jonathan, you want it 1 to 11 or 11 to 1?
You got to do 11 to 1.
You think so? Build the anticipation?
You always have to.
I mean, everybody who's listening to this right about now knows who number 1 is, I would imagine.
So maybe you go 1, 11 through 2.
All right, number 1 is Trinidad Chambliss, the Ole Miss starting quarterback. Never once felt like he didn't have the answers last year at all. Twitched up, accurate on all levels. The only concern is all the losing parts. Like all the parts that we lost from a year ago. Offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach, head coach, 5 of our top 6 wide receiver targets. Like, it's all gone. But we kept my man that used to coach the New York, Joe Judge. We kept Joe Judge around. We'll see how John David Baker handles play calling duties at the SEC level. But I think Trinidad is a very special football player. If he were 6'2", he would be the preseason QB1 in the NFL draft. That is my wholehearted belief about this football player. You have no idea how elite the arm efficiency is and how quick the stroke is until you see this in person. Everything about him is quantified in 2 words: twitched up. This dude is absolutely twitchy as can be, but more so like his movements as a quarterback. I'm not talking about him as a runner. Everybody can see that. That's obvious. But I'm more talking about how quick the ball comes out and how much immediate life and how much immediate accuracy this guy has, and his decision-making processes. They are bang, bang, bang at all times. We love Trinidad Chambliss around these parts. All right, number 11. Okay. Now, again, 50% what you've already done, 50% what I think you're going to do. And I think this kid coming up he's never played a college down, but I think it's going to be so good so early at Tennessee that he comes in at number 11 for me, and that is Faison Brandon. I think they made the 100% the right decision. I don't know if a quarterback has ever had a terrible season with Josh Heupel at the helm, calling plays, and Halsey as well. He's done a really good job throughout his career over there at Tennessee since Golish has left that staff. So I think this kid's going to be really good. I think the wide receiver core is great. The offensive line is above average. I wouldn't say elite. Deshaun Bishop's going to run for 1,000, 1,200, 1,300 yards like all these Tennessee running backs do. That offense is really, really quarterback friendly, which rolls into number 10, who also plays in a very similar offense, and that would be Byron Brown. Say what you want about the throwing mechanics. Lord knows it looks painful. There's no doubt about that. And I know Jordan Palmer, this is his client, but I also respect the hell out of Jordan Palmer's opinions. He thinks this guy's going to just absolutely tear a new one into this conference from what he has seen this offseason and having opportunities to go down to Auburn. I believe in this wide choice offense from a statistical standpoint. They're going to put up points. They're going to put up yards. The quarterback's going to look good. All right, there's no doubt about that. There's 3 of these guys on this list today that play in these types of systems. Spoiler alert, yes, Kamario Taylor is on this list. But no, I think Byram's going to be a relatively painful tackle for a lot of SEC football teams this year. And I love the cut of his jib, if you will. I love this kid's mentality, his grown man's mentality. He approaches the game the right way. He is a professional from the neck up. He's going to work really, really hard to be really good. All that being said, we got to clean it up. And that's exactly how it sounds when he clicks through that throwing motion. But we watched the offense from a UCF against SEC comp, and the play calling of that football team is going to lead to a lot of success at the quarterback position. Now, this is where the pitchforks really come out. And I'm probably going to get some phone calls about this one afterwards. Number 9, Marcel Reed.
I think that's fair.
It feels a little low. And I think that's what A&M fans are going to get upset about, just the amount of disrespect that Marcel's gotten this offseason. But I am positive in the sense that I do have positive thoughts about the new offensive coordinator and the way he's spoken about, showing and tailoring the offense to more accentuate the skill sets that Marcel has. And Marcel is going to be able to be on the move a little bit more and stop being so like, it's almost like they thought this kid was Drew Brees last year or Julian Sand. I don't think he's that. I think this is a guy that should be on the move. I think this guy should be rolling out. We should be heavy play action rollouts. We should be heavy in the RPO game. We should be heavy in involving the quarterback's legs. And maybe Colin Klein looked at their backup quarterback position last year and was like, ooh, if Marcel gets hurt, I don't care what the schedule is. We ain't making a playoff like we're on track to do right now. So maybe that's why they went with what they went with. But I think Marcel Reed at number 9 has the potential to go upwards in this list. But there are some guys in front of him that are not only a lot more traitsy from a height, weight, speed standpoint, but also they've played good football, okay? And not that Marcel hasn't, but the turnover problems were a thing last year.
Yes.
All right? And we're not box score stat people around here, but we also failed to pull the trigger quite a bit last year on tape. There were a lot of turn downs on easy work that we could be getting to. Marcel Reed comes in at number 9 for me.
Yeah, I would say the highs of Marcel Reed make him a top 5, maybe top 3 quarterback in the SEC. The problem is there's so many lows that you don't know what to buy. So I think 9's a fair spot.
Yeah. All right, number 8. This could be an absolute drastic riser in this list because I believe in this kid at a really, really high rate. It's Kamario Taylor, Mississippi State's quarterback. And I know that if this were just what I think it's going to be this year, Kamario would be somewhere around like 4 or 5 for me. But the criteria is what you did last year on tape and what you're about to do this year. So he comes in at number 8 for me. This kid's 6'4", he's 230 pounds, he runs like a deer, he can make every throw in the book. And he has shown a tremendous amount of growth as a true thrower of the football from his high school days into his college days into what we now expect it to be this year. If this dude isn't just absolutely elite this year, I think it's all because everybody around him is just not serviceable enough. And I think that's the fear of Mississippi State fans, the biggest fear that they have, because if it's not good, this kid's going to make $7 million in the portal. And I know y'all don't want to hear that, but he's going to be a Miami Hurricane. Number 7, John Mateer. You guys know I am not the biggest. I love Mateer, the football player, but some of the stuff that he does at the quarterback position makes me really frustrated I just like clean mechanics. And I'm not talking about the arm slot. The arm slot is what it is. It's very Drew Mestermaker doesn't throw it like the great coach. Drew Mestermaker throws like damn Phillip Rivers. I don't really care. What I care about is our feet tied to our eyes, or hell, worse, our feet even in the ground. And half the time it feels like this kid is not doing that. And we're about to be 3 years into starting football. We're about to be 3 years into playing a lot of snaps. We got 24 starts already as a quarterback, and I've never seen a lot of growth from Mateer, even when he was healthy. And I don't think it's fair to be like, oh well, now he's going to figure it out. Now he's going to stop looking at 75-yard touchdowns on the first play of the game and suddenly start pulling the trigger. Oh, why? Because he had a conversation with Sam Bradford? He's a great playmaker. He's a great runner of the football. He's a great college player. There's just a lot there that I don't love. And I think that's okay. 7 on this list, I don't think is all that disrespectful.
Another highs and lows thing. I think at his best, he is one of the most dynamic playmakers in the SEC, if not the country. But like you said, there's a lot of decisions and a lot of inconsistencies that create turnovers and create issues that we saw plague Oklahoma last year. So I think it's fair ranking.
Mm-hmm. I think too, the reason why it is more frustrating, I feel like, with John Mateer than it is other quarterbacks is John Mateer will do it. He can do it. We've seen him do it before. And they're just such minor fixes in his game that if he just cleaned it up, he would have the potential, in my opinion, to be the best quarterback in this conference if he would just clean those things up, because it is so explosive and it is so electric from him. It's just like there's so many minor things that he has to clean up, and that he doesn't do it consistently enough that it's to the detriment of himself.
Mm-hmm. And to the detriment of the complete efficiency of their offense.
Mm-hmm.
They have these sputtering moments as an offensive football team, and I don't believe it's because of play calling. In fact, every time we watched it, I would sit there going, damn, Arbuckle's kind of cooking right now. We're just not hitting. We're just not hitting what coach is calling, and that's even more concerning, because that's like, this is going to be year 4 in this same system for this guy. Last year was year 3. So if we're turning down automatic touchdowns on first plays of the game and first plays of the second half and what should be scripted scores, man, we're just not seeing it. We're not seeing it the way that we're supposed to, so that concerns me. Number 6, by year's end, I think this kid has the potential to be a top 3 quarterback in this conference. It is Keelan Russell at Alabama, and I think either of the Alabama quarterbacks would have been firmly inside my top 6 somewhere, whether it have been Austin Mack or Keelan, but the ceiling of Keelan Russell is going to be phenomenal. And people will say, but Brooks, 50% of your ratings are based off what they did last year, and the other 50% is what they're going to do. I know. That's why I think this kid's going to be that. I think this kid's going to be that elite. And I loved what we saw from the high school tape. And normally I throw high school quarterback tapes in the garbage. I just don't care, because there's a lot of bad habits that we're allowed to get away with. With him, not so much, man. We developed really good habits and really good systems as a quarterback out there at Duncanville. And I think this offense is pick and stick, 3,200 yards at the quarterback position and playing it at a really high level. The questions are, can they keep him upright, and can they actually run the football? And you Alabama fans listening to this have heard that ad nauseum from every talking head in the world. So there's no need to talk about it more. Number 5 on my list, I could never, as long as we have headset communications in college football, I could never see a Lane Kiffin quarterback outside of my top 5 in the SEC. I just don't care who they got.
Interesting.
This dude gives all their quarterbacks the answers. And Sam Leavitt is an immensely talented football player that now will have all of the answers all of the time. And his skill set honestly matches a lot of what Trinidad does too. He gets it in and out really, really quickly. He's good enough to make things happen with his legs. I don't think he's as good a traditional quarterback run guy as this guy, but he might be a little bit shiftier scrambler, if that makes any sense at all. His scrambling tape is more impressive than Trinidad's, but Trinidad's run tape is unmatched from a design quarterback run standpoint in this conference. But no, Leavitt's going to light it up this year. I've even said, it's the moment he transferred there, I told the boys, I was like, that dude's going to get a GM fired. that dude is going to watch – somebody's going to watch Sam Levitt this year and go, yeah, that's the next Bo Nix right there. We'll draft that guy. He looks just like him. And then they're going to draft him, and he's going to throw 16 interceptions in his first season, and they're going to be like, well, shit. Looks like we got to go draft another one. Yeah, so you watch out for that one. Number 4, light it up, boys. Light it up. I'm back on the spoon. Give me Lenore Sellers at number 4. Love the football player, so much so that my dumb butt called him a preseason Heisman Trophy winner last year, only for Mike Schuler to absolutely run that one into the ground. But it's okay, because I think Kendall Briles, the new offensive coordinator over there coming over to TCU, is finally back in his zone. And what is his zone? His zone is, give me a freak that can run vertically out on the outside, and give me a quarterback that can add into the run game, and we're going to be all right. All right, we're going to put up a lot of points, and we're going to have a lot of fun, and we're going to get our ball to the playmakers in space. I think Lenore Sellers gets back to what he is ultimately supposed to be, which is one of the best quarterbacks, not just in this conference, but in college football. Give me Lenore Sellers, number 4. Any pushback here, boys?
Yeah,
I think
the question
that's way too high.
the question that I would raise is, what's the major differences between Marcel Reed and John Mateer and Lenore Sellers? I think that all 3 of those quarterbacks are talented. I think all 3 of those quarterbacks are great with their legs and great athletes, but they all 3 have the same flaw of it's not consistent enough. We turn the ball over. We have errant throws. We're not consistent in our mechanics, and it's the detriment of our game.
Well, I think Lenore's took a massive step mechanically last year. Based off the tape that I've watched, we're actually diligent in our mechanics now. We're not free-flowing out there, almost robotic to an extent. Like, we went a little bit too far into the making sure that we are right from a mechanical standpoint. The turnovers that I see, the problems that I see from a putting the ball at risk standpoint with Lenore's are far more about, well, shit, not only did the left tackle get beat like a drum, the right guard got beat like a drum, the left guard got beat like a drum, the right tackle's about to get called for a hold, and now we're running around like a chicken with our head cut off. Whereas with the other 2 guys, I think some of those errors are a little bit more self-inflicted than what Lenore's has got going on. So give me Lenore's, number 4. Number 3, an absolute gamer. An absolute gamer. It's Gunnar Stockton. Gunnar Stockton's fourth quarter statistics from a year ago are undeniable. Absolutely undeniable. In the game's biggest moments, this dude was, I don't even think arguable, I think he was the best football quarterback in the country last year in 4th downs, when trailing, all the, hey, we need you to go do this. Can you do this in your first year starting in this conference? Don't worry, buddy, I got you. I'm going to complete 85% of my balls in the 4th quarter. Huh? Okay, yeah, that'll do. That'll play. I also think there will be signs of growth for this football player, because we saw it within the year last year. We saw growth from drive to drive from this football player, and nothing allows for growth more than actual playing experience. And for the first time in his college career, he got it last year. Any guesses who number 2 is? By the way, number 1 was already Trinidad Chambliss. Number 2?
I mean, there's only one obvious answer, because you dang sure didn't leave him out of the top 11. It's Arch Manning.
It is Arch Manning. I thought the last 6 games last year, he was elite. Okay, he was absolutely elite. Something started to click. I think Sarkisian said it best. It just got to a point where he was like, F it. I'm just going to do it myself. I'm just going to go out here and do it myself. I'm going to stand back here like a pin cushion and get absolutely lit up because our offensive line can't block a soul. It's okay. Kyle Flood makes $1.8 million, but I'm going to be on my back half the time. It's all right. Don't worry about it. I'm going to throw darts. I don't care if Parker Livingston's dropping them. I don't care if Ryan Wingo's dropping them. I don't care. I'm going to throw darts left and right. And yes, they added a bunch of new parts, but I think the most important thing is I do believe that Steve Sarkisian is going to get back to being a top-end play caller. I think I expect when I turn Texas football tape on this year, that it's actually going to make a little bit more sense than it did a year ago, because it was way too discombobulated. The passing concepts did not match the fact that we could not protect. And I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that, he might have felt like he had to go supersede that defensive staff over there, just make sure they're handling their business. Now, not so much. We got Will Muschamp in the building. We're all right.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest gripe that people are probably going to have is A&M fans and Oklahoma fans, only because Keelan Russell is ahead of them. They're obviously going to have something to say about that. And I kind of understand that to an extent. Really, the only thing that I would say is I think that there are two certainties, in my opinion, when people rank SEC quarterbacks. It's that I do think that Gunnar Stockton is at the very least a top 4 quarterback in this conference, and I do think that Trinidad Chambliss is the best quarterback in this conference. So on those two things, you get my approval rating. Outside of the others, it's so much of a what is your personal stance on those players? Like, what do you actually think? Like, I wouldn't have Lenore Sellers in the top 4, but you do. And we just recently watched it, and you can say easily, you can project how good it's going to be, but it really just depends on everything else around him.
Look, I think 4 through 9, right? Like Lenoris all the way down to Marcel are kind of interchangeable. However you want to project those football players, you feel free to do so. I do know what I'm doing with the Lenore Sellers thing. I think that's buying into Kendall Briles, the play caller. And buying into the skill sets. Like this dude is one of the more talented quarterbacks we've watched in the last 3 or 4 years in this conference. So back on the spoon, but not back on the spoon from he's the number 1 quarterback in the conference like I did last year. So I learned my lesson just a tad bit.
That's good. So always important to learn. And
y'all ready to do week 0 predictions?
Yes.
let's do our week 0 predictions.
All right,
do we
we starting
Do we have
with
any
today,
shout outs
boys?
to get before we do that?
Oh, of course. Shout out to our friends over at Hard Rock Bet. Play that thing. Ladies and gentlemen, today's show is brought to you by our friends over at Hard Rock Bet Sportsbook. Whether it's rivalries, trash talk, bragging rights, it's all a part of this game of college football that we all love so much. But there's one thing college football fans can all agree on. Hard Rock Bet is easy, safe, and trusted with thousands of 5-star reviews. You can back your favorite football team all season long, whether it be from the couch, hanging out at the tailgate, or even inside the stadium, especially for our friends down there in the state of Florida. Hard Rock Bet knows college football in Florida. They're Florida's only legal app to bet on college football, but you don't have to be in the state of Florida to join the party that Hard Rock Bet's got going on. They're also live in Arizona, Ohio, New Jersey, Indiana, Tennessee, Virginia, Illinois, Colorado, and Michigan, with more states on the way. And right now, listen up, right now, all customers, new and existing, can place a $5 bet to get $100 in bonus bets. That's right, $5 get you $100 in bonus bets. So if you don't have the Hard Rock Bet app today, what are you doing? Head over to hardrock.bet/filmguy. That's hardrock.bet/filmguy. Get the party started on Hard Rock Bet today. Must be 21 or older. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER today. Please gamble responsibly. Oh, thanks, Shannon. I appreciate it. I thought I did a really good job on the list, too. Hey, I'm live right now. Can I call you back? Okay, thank you, Bob. Just had to make sure he was okay with those, you know. Because everybody's really worried. It's a guy's an On3 plant now that he works with the company. I just got to watch out now. Come on, guys. It's all right. Those are my lists. If you disagree with them, disagree with them. Don't disagree with them because you think I said something because someone tell me to say something. That ain't how this is going to work. That ain't how this place is ever going to work. Let's do some predictions, shall we? Week 0. We got football this weekend. Let's do it.
We sure do.
Who's up first?
We got to start with the first game, and that is UNC versus TCU. Line still remains the same as it was yesterday, by the way. So shout out to our friends at Hard Rock Bet for providing that. But yes, the kickoff of the college football season on Saturday in another country.
I'm fine. Play it on Mars, dude. I don't care. Let me see some college football.
All right, let's let the people know how this is done. All right, can you move that down just a tad bit? Give me some space on either end. No, it's all good. Don't worry about
really.
it. I should have gone over there and overseen that before we went live. That's on me. That's not on you. All right. Anyways, this is how this works. We give you a key to the matchup. All right. We go through our X factors. We give you unless it doesn't happen, and then we give you a score prediction. If you're new to this network and you have no idea what I just did, don't worry. You'll get the hang of it pretty quickly. Let's start with our key to the matchup, boys. I did a little research on the interwebs before the game, before the show started. Shocker, 80% chance of rain in Ireland this weekend. Ireland, one of these places that rains every single day, apparently. And that football field has no ability to retain water for some reason every year. They're out there slipping and sliding. So key to the matchup, running the ball and holding on to the pill. That's it. Key to the matchup right there.
Yeah, I think I have two keys to this matchup. Billy Edwards is going to be in his first start here for UNC. The UNC quarterback, Billy Edwards.
I'm just messing with you.
What can he do to keep on pace with TCU, what I think is a superior TCU offense? Like, he is going to have to play honestly above his weight class to keep UNC in this. So that's a major key. And then the other one is which defense puts their offense in the best position for easy points. I don't think you have two fantastic offenses going off here. It's very much going to be decided by, hey, who's getting shorter fields, who's getting momentum plays, stuff like that. Which defense sets up the offense for success?
I think this one really boils down to quarterback play, in my opinion. You've got two relatively fresh quarterbacks, and they've kind of bounced around, or at least Billy Edwards Jr. has bounced around in college football, hasn't found a firm stance, and even that between playing for 3 other Power 4 football teams. He only has 16 career attempts, I believe it is, or at least that's how many he had last year. I think it's really going to boil down to which one of these guys can acclimate to their team the quickest in this first matchup, especially when it sounds like weather conditions are going to be at play. Who can protect the rock and who can protect the rock and who can be the most efficient in this?
Jonathan, I got a top 5 name for your football team that you love so much based off namesake. You ready?
Yes.
Demon June.
That'll play.
Demon June.
That'll play.
Demon June started. Oh no, that's Jeremy Payne that I have stats on next. He's my X factor. Jeremy Payne is 5.5 yards per carry on Demon June last year as a role secondary back, complementary back. I think is what most people call that. Here's my X factor. You ready? Jeremy Payne, TCU's running back. First year as a full-time starter. Started the last 3 games last year and averaged 116 yards on 19 attempts per game over the last 3 football games. So we know it's about running the ball because of the rain. We assume it's going to be about running the ball because of the rain. And it seems to me that TCU has a slight advantage in that department.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Especially when, like you just mentioned, the weather is going to be so at play. And we've seen this pop up in every single Ireland game over the years. The ground attack becomes very pivotal. Interior defensive line, who can shut down the run the best and who can really force the other offense's hand. If Payne is having the day like he did at the end of the season last year, TCU is going to be in pretty good shape, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's why I have my X factor as the field. Like
The field.
I know that there's going to be some players on here. The running game is going to be very important, but what does the field do to your offense, to your team? Can it make plays for you? Like, we've seen multiple instances of this. I mean, there were, 3 red zone fumbles in last year's game. This field and these conditions are going to be the X factor of this game. They're going to have the biggest effect on the outcome. So the X factor will be the field.
Now, I also have a field as an X factor, but not the field. I have Jacob Fields, the safety for TCU, as an X factor in this football game. For Louisiana Tech last year, he had 90 tackles and 3 interceptions.
Isn't this the guy that got in trouble?
Bad news, Jay.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He's not on.
This is the guy that got in trouble. This is the guy that sent a man to a hospital.
Still can be an X factor, however, because he is
For that
not
reason,
going
yes,
to be
very well
playing.
could be.
Wow. Well, never mind. He will not be an X factor in this football
Put the
game.
hands on the teammates.
You know what? Not your fault. You were on vacation Thursday night when we talked about that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right. Yeah.
Jeff Santel was sitting in your chair
This
admirably, by the way.
gentleman.
You haven't
some
heard this
no-nos.
story, have you?
No, I don't know anything about this.
Okay, your man Fields literally beat a teammate in a fight so bad in the locker room that he was hospitalized and is now facing assault charges.
Yeah, he should not be playing on Saturday.
Dismissed from the
He's
team.
not. He's
Yeah.
not.
Good.
I don't know if he'll ever play football
So-
again. Hey, but as the chat says, broken hit.
Wow. I honestly did think that's the angle you're taking with the X factor. I was like, oh, okay. And then as they started reading
No,
off,
I had no idea.
then you started reading
Yeah,
off the
I
stats.
thought
I was
you
like,
were
wait,
goofing.
Jay.
No, I had zero clue about
Well,
that.
now you do.
Yeah, now I do. So I don't, not my X factor anymore. I might have to pick a new one right here in a little bit.
Hey, just stick with me in the field. It's the biggest one.
Yikes.
All right, coming up next, here we go. Our favorite segment of the night. You heard it here first.
Let's hear it.
TCU puts up 275 yards on the ground in this football
wow.
game. Runs it down their damn throat. You heard it here first, unless it doesn't happen.
Not bad. Not bad. Jay, you want to go next?
I do.
You want a redemption arc here?
Yeah, this has a much higher likelihood of actually happening other than my X factor in this football game. You heard it here first. There will be at least 2 catastrophic special team mishaps in this football game.
this
You heard it here first, unless it doesn't happen. Just ultimate chaos.
Yours kind of plays into mine. This is going to be a disgusting football game. It's not going to look, it's going to be poorly executed. There's going to be mishaps and bust everywhere. Give me 7 total turnovers in this game. You heard it here first, unless it doesn't happen.
Score predictions. I got TCU covering the points, winning 27-17 in an absolute slop fest.
You and I were almost on the same note there. I have TCU 27, UNC 13.
I went TCU 31-20.
A lot of points for maybe a
lot of
monsoon.
Short fields.
7 turnovers.
Yeah.
Short
Seven
fields.
You know what?
turnovers.
Yeah, the special team mishaps, if they happen, that's very plausible.
Yeah, dude.
All right, let's go on to our next football game. What is it?
The next one we have is UNLV versus Memphis, or Memphis at UNLV, I should say.
So this is the nightcap. This is the 10 p.m. game on this fine East Coast that we happen to live on. Key to the matchup, Memphis has 1 quarterback, UNLV has 0.
Yes, because if you have 2, you have
Yeah,
none.
the old adage, if you got 2 quarterbacks, you have none. Alex Orji and Jackson Arnold going to get in the mix here as, multiple playing quarterback roles out here. I would imagine if I were Memphis's defensive coordinator, we'd be sending the house when Alex Orji's on the field. I would imagine that is a direct indication of they finna run the ball. And then with Jackson Arnold, we would just wait for him to throw it to us.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah, that's tough. Yeah, I mean, I think the quarterbacks are going to be the key to this matchup here. Like, which UNLV quarterback can take the reins, which one makes mistakes, all of that's going to have a major effect on UNLV's performance. I think also just the defenses in general. Which defense can make enough stops? Kind of the opposite of the TCU-UNC game of where, which defense can win the football game, which defense doesn't lose you the football game, which defense can maybe get a stop or two that gives the offense an opportunity to score. I think this is going to be one of the higher scoring games of the weekend.
Yeah, for a matchup like this to open up the season where it's 2 of the better G6 programs, I would argue, facing off against one another to start off the season, I think it really could just boil down to which of these offenses can get off to the hottest start. Like if one of these teams can jump out to a 14-0 lead or a 10-0 lead, make it 2 possessions really early on in this one and just kind of build themselves some cushion for the rest of the football game, I think that could be a massive key to this one. So just how quickly these offenses can get rolling, because as we know, start of the season, things can be a little off balance and things can get off slow.
I think the X factor in this football game is, and this is the case across a lot of these football teams, a lot of turnover nowadays in college football, you know this, but I don't think any football team that we're going to talk about tonight has as much turnover as Memphis does. I think Memphis has 2 returning players and they're starting 22 on both sides of the football. The rest of them, all brand new faces, all brand new names under Coach Huff. I'm in a real perplexed situation right here, boys, because on one hand, I want Jackson Arnold to light it up so Hugh Freeze looks like an idiot on the golf course. On the other hand, we ain't exactly rooting for Dan Mullen on this channel all the time, unless he wants to, wear a Darth Vader mask after starting a fight at midfield in the middle of halftime. And also the fact that I'm really not a fan of this Huff guy either, because y'all know what he's most famous for, right? He's most famous for being the NIU head football coach that not only beat Notre Dame, but after one of his games last year was like, I'm so sick and tired of this nature of college football. Everybody's trying to steal players off my roster. How about you have some respect? How about you stay where you're planted? How about you be where your feet are? Wait a minute, Memphis is going to give me what? Oh, okay, yeah, I'm out of here. See you, boys. Appreciate y'all sticking around while I was here. I'm not here for hypocritical football coaches, so we'll see. I'm very perplexed. I don't know what I'm going to do here.
Going back to your Hugh Freeze comment, if Jackson Arnold does ball, though, would Hugh Freeze...
But it was Huff that said this, right?
I
think he was. Oh, no, he went to the NFL. I'm sorry.
I remember this.
I'm sorry. That guy went to the NFL. He left
remember.
NIU to go be a position coach in the NFL with the Seahawks, I think. So thank you for the correction there, chat. Not a fan of that guy. But we'll see about this Memphis head coach.
Going back to your Hugh Freeze comment, though, would it actually look that foolish? Because if you remember correctly, he's always loved Jackson Arnold. He loved him out of high school, loved him the entire time. If he does ball, just be like, see, my evaluation was correct. Everybody else just failed him.
Yeah, I think the X factor I have is Memphis running back Down Hayden. 2025, UNLV had the 127th ranked rushing defense.
Ooh.
I don't think that's pretty good. So if Down Hayden, the transfer from Colorado, can get anything going and create some explosive runs in this game, they're going to have a really good opportunity to beat UNLV.
I'm going to go with the other running back. I'm going to go Jaden Thomas for UNLV. This dude had 1,034 rushing yards last year, 12 touchdowns. He averaged 7 yards per carry.
Good Lord.
Yeah, so that's my X factor in this one.
I want to extend an apology to Memphis' head football coach.
Really it's just your turn to look foolish. I look foolish. Brooks looked foolish. Now it's your turn.
That was on me.
Hopefully I can keep the streak going.
So when you see me in the street, just come up and tell me that I'm an idiot. That's okay. I got an unless it doesn't happen. You ready?
Let's hear it.
75 points total, 75 plus points total scored in this football game. An absolute shootout. You're up till 1:30, sitting on the edge of your seat. You heard it here first.
I beg of
Please,
you.
please make this happen. I've never wanted something so desperately in my life for a college football opener. Man. You heard it here first. Alex Orji rushes for more yards than Jackson Arnold throws for in this game. You heard it here first, unless it doesn't happen.
Plausible.
This is a game where we're not going to have a whole lot of defense. I think we all agree going to be one of the higher scoring ones of the weekend. I think it's going to be one of the most explosive matchups we see all week. Give me 3 plays of 60-plus yards happening in this game. You heard it here first, unless it doesn't happen.
Thomas Hammock is the football coach that I have beef with. My apologies, Mr. Huff. All right. What's next?
Score predictions are next.
Oh, yeah. I got UNLV winning 34-28.
I got UNLV 31-24.
Hang on. Your unless it doesn't happen is 75 plus, but your score prediction is 30.
Are you new to the show?
Do you not understand how this works?
Are you is it your first day?
I've always had
new here?
I've always had my unless it doesn't happen line up with my
I think you might be doing this a little wrong.
My prediction is Memphis wins
It just means
38-30.
his unless it doesn't happen aren't brandish enough. They're just not out of this world crazy.
Too realistic.
Yeah, buddy. Go out on a limb every once in a while.
Yeah, seven turnovers in a game is too realistic. Sorry, guys. Make it 8.
Double digits?
All right, we need to speed it up here.
Okay, next one we got is FSU versus New Mexico State.
Oh, yeah.
The key to I have this matchup is what does Florida State look like? What does this fan base look like? What does the environment? I think we can all agree that this is going to be a game they handle pretty easily. I don't think there's a ton of analysis that needs to be done. I just want to see what this team looks like. What's the vibe around it? Because we all think it has the potential to be a very long season.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're just trying to find the bright spots on this offense or really on this roster. And I think, and I've said it several times so far this year, I think Florida State does have some bright spots, specifically on the offensive side of the ball. That's what I'm most intrigued about. Ashton Daniels, Deuce Robinson, Usmani Krama, Wisner from Texas. Like, those are the ones that I'm really paying attention to.
Yeah, I think the key to the matchup is what Bowden's flip phone's talking about right now. I want FSU fans, and I know I'm asking a lot for a football program and an athletic administration that hasn't dedicated itself to football enough like everybody else does. But I want FSU fans to show up and show out and show this athletic administration department that they ought to start funding their football team again. That would be cool. I'm not one of these people that's like, oh man, college football is so much better when so-and-so's good. That's not me. But I will say this. I don't think it's right for college football fans to look up and be like, Florida State's not even trying to be good. And I feel like the last couple of off seasons, they haven't given Mike Norvell enough to even be competitive. And if he is, it's because he must be a good football coach, which I wouldn't be shocked by. The guy did win 18 games in a row, so will y'all give this man something? Will this fan base show up to the point where they don't feel like they're tanking like the chat's talking about right now?
My X factor for this game is true freshman wide receiver Devin Carter. I think in these football games, really paying attention to some of the younger guys on the roster, guys that we haven't seen yet. I think he's going to get a good amount of playing time. One of the better prospects from this previous recruiting class for Florida State. So he's my X factor.
Deuce Robinson, Usmani Krama. Simple.
Yeah. Nice. You took 2 of them, X factors.
Yeah.
It's Usmani Krama for me. I think he's going to be well on ice in the second half, though.
Yeah.
Well on ice. Yeah, okay, Bowden, you just opened up a $400 state-of-the-art football facility. I'm talking about assets on the roster. And I know you gave Deuce Robinson some money to stick around, but I'm talking about whether or not your football team is talented enough to actually go out and compete. And I don't believe that is the case right now at its highest rates. And again, if you think I'm wrong, that's fine. But I think that's my main primary concern. And when I talk to coaches on that staff, they don't come out and say that, but that's the way they feel. It's like we don't have what others have right now. And it's hard for y'all to expect us to perform like others do, but we don't have what others have. Okay, so that is my thoughts on your program, and it looks like you think I'm wrong, which is okay. And I only talk to Bowden because he shows up every single night. Thank you, Bowden's flip phone. We'll see you tomorrow night, too.
You heard it here first. Ashton Daniels is leading the Heisman race after week 0 after throwing for 250 yards and rushing for 70. Heard it here first.
300 yards by halftime. You heard it here first, unless it doesn't happen. 300 yards passing in 2 quarters, Put the man on ice.
Give me Deuce Robinson, Usman Kramat accounting for 80% of Florida State's total yardage in the first half before they are put on the bench because they're winning by so much. You heard it here first unless it doesn't happen.
I got Florida State 63-21.
Florida State 48-17.
Dude, they racked it up last year against these opponents.
They did.
Yeah, I got it 48-10.
All right. Next game we have is NC State, Virginia.
It's a good one, man. It's a really good football game. Key to the matchup to me is on both sides. New pieces getting comfortable. Brand new wide receiver course for both these football teams out of the transfer portal. Virginia has a brand new skill positions, all of them. Brand new quarterback room, brand new running back room, brand new wide receivers apart from the slot. Like there's a whole lot of moving pieces. Fall camp was the X factor here. All right, was the key to the matchup rather. Who had the best fall camp getting ready for all these new faces?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for me, it's going to circle back to these quarterbacks again because I think C.J. Bailey has the potential to be very special this year. I think he has the potential to really rise up the draft ranks if he has that type of season. And also Bo Pribula kind of maybe hoping for a bit of a redemption story in this one. We'll see how that plays out for Virginia. But these two quarterbacks, which one of them can just be the better player ultimately? I think that's who's going to win this game.
To add to that, how much does C.J. Bailey help and elevate this NC State roster? I think that's going to be the major key to this matchup.
They don't think they're that bad.
Mm-hmm.
NC State coaching staff is talking highly about the guys that they have around C.J. Bailey, and I hope they do have enough around him because I think that's the X factor, how much better he is than both Bo Pribula and Eli Holstein, both quarterbacks over at Virginia, which I think by year's end we see them both.
Yeah.
I don't know if we see them both on Saturday, but we'll see them both by the end of the year.
My X factor is Peyton Lewis.
HR, get him. Juju Lewis, Heisman dark horse. HR, I need him tested right now. Just take him off, have him pee in a cup. We'll see the results. He's going to melt it. Go ahead.
My X factor is Peyton Lewis, a former Tennessee running back. I thought he was a solid running back. I think Tennessee fans thought he was a solid running back in their offense. I think he could be a major player in this one.
I've got NC State's defense as my X factor here. Last season, they ranked 80th or worse in total points per game, total yards per game, and rushing yards per game. They were giving it up last year. They cannot do that. That's all.
Predictions, because I got to check the line. I know you just put it up on the board, but I got to check the line one more time. Go ahead.
Okay, my prediction is Virginia 24, NC State 20.
No, we got to do it unless it doesn't happen. Or
Okay,
y'all already do it?
No, we didn't.
No, we did not.
All right, you heard it here first. Bo Pribula and C.J. Bailey combined for 3 turnovers, and 2 of them result in scores. And then I have Virginia 24, NC State 20.
I think we have 10 total points scored at the end of the first half. You heard it here first unless it doesn't happen. Just an offensive slop fest. Ugh.
A 5.5-point dog are my NC State Wolfpack in this football game.
Oh, they're cooked.
You heard it here first. They win this game by 2 touchdowns at least, unless it doesn't happen.
C.J. Bailey, you've never been more cooked in your life. I'm sorry. All right, the final game we have for Week 0 is Hawaii and Stanford. Now, I do want to point out, this line moved 2 whole points since yesterday in favor of Hawaii. It's now down to -3.5 in favor of Stanford. Take that information how you will.
Who knows something?
They do.
Vegas always knows something, dude.
Can Stanford turn Hawaii over? How about in bunches? How about this one? Last year, Hawaii won 9 football games, by the way, 9-4 last year.
They were a good team last year.
In 2 of their 4 losses, they had 9 total turnovers.
Wow.
5 turnovers in a loss to, Arizona, and 4 more in a loss to Fresno State. Can Stanford do that again to the homie Micah Alejado? We'll see.
It's hard to do, too, because Mike Alejado is a very efficient passer. Like, he may not be the traitiest quarterback in the entire country or anything like that, but he's very efficient. He plays on time. I've seen that multiple times when watching them over the years. I think you'll see the same thing. So it's really hard to turn over a guy like that when he's playing like that.
Yeah, I think it's kind of both what we said. I don't have a ton of analysis or keys in the matchup. I think we got to keep it rolling.
X Factor. Will Micah Alejado's legs work in the second half?
Mike Alejado, X Factor for sure.
Will he be upright? Will he have a boot on one of his feet? We'll see.
My X factor is Nico Brown, the Stanford wide receiver, transfer from Yale, caught 71 passes for over 1,000 yards, 11 touchdowns, all team leading totals, and the 3rd most receptions in Yale history.
You heard it here first. 700 yards passing in this football game.
Whoa.
Unless
That's
it doesn't
a lot.
happen. I got Hawaii winning 31-27.
Heard it here first. Dylan Risk, steps into play for Davis Warren before the end of the third quarter.
Oof.
Heard it here first unless it doesn't happen. Hawaii 34, Stanford 28.
Here's my unless it doesn't happen. Mike Alejado sprains both of his ankles. Despite that, he turns in a heroic last drive to put Hawaii in field goal position to tie the game, only for the kicker to shank it. Stanford wins 23-20. You heard it here first.
But early in the game, though, he broke both of his legs.
Iconic.
Man.
Let's go to the local hour. We got a whole nother hour of content coming up after a short break.
Welcome into Talk the Dog, the show where we find a bone to pick and a take to give. These are not hot takes. These is dog takes. Can I talk that dog? What's up? You really like that? Let's shut up and grind some tape.
I know you guys are just giving me a hard time because you like to give me a hard time, but I will remind you, there's only one man, and he is a singular host on his show. There's only one man that does more Georgia video-related content in the entire world than this place right here, and it's Brandon Adams, okay? So let's talk that dog. All right, let's talk that dog. I know we shorted you 5 minutes. My bad. We've only been talking about him for an hour, 4 days a week since July, and 3 days a week since February. So here we go. I know y'all just give me a hard time, but hey, I had to defend myself.
They do make me chuckle, though.
They get to you.
The local
do get to
2-minute
me.
warning.
I care about their opinions. I'm sorry. I care about the opinions of our constituents and our listeners.
Just not enough to give him a full hour, though.
What do we got today? Give the rundown. I don't even have the energy to give the rundown. Give the rundown.
We had a Georgia Bulldogs presser today. I went there and attended. I will give you the notes from that, a little rundown. I'm also creating a new scale for this because I had it dawn on me. So I'll give that when we do.
Did
our
he limp, by the way?
He did not. Very normal walk. Pretty cool, calm demeanor from Kirby Smart. So kind of interesting there. We've got a quick little segment on what should Georgia fans be looking for in week 0. There's not a lot from an analysis standpoint as a fan base. Georgia likely won't play any of these teams. They don't have any of them on the regular season schedule. We are 11 days away from kickoff, less than 2 weeks. Got some number 11 nostalgia to go through. We've been doing this segment for the last few days. I think we've enjoyed it. We've also, I don't know if anyone else did this, but I ranked my running backs.
I did. I gave a full rankings.
Cool. So we have that as well. And then this has been on the show sheet for a while. I want to just go through an exercise of players that have been attached to specific moments. So we'll get to that if we can. It's a load of
It may remain on the show
always.
sheet heading into the
We also took a bunch
see
of
it.
questions from the Discord audience as well. Not questions for us to answer, but questions they want answered about Georgia in the middle of the season. And I'm sure we will address them and give our thoughts on them as well. But it is a loaded local hour. Make sure you are hitting that thumbs up button, like, subscribing, rating, reviewing. Jonathan's doing a good job of uploading the podcast now that he is back. Somebody made a pretty oopsie mistake on the local hour upload on
My
Thursday
bad,
night.
Spotify
And
listeners.
you know what? You got punished for it because I know you heard about it.
Oh, I got tweeted at.
Oh, dude, I got tweeted at for 3 days.
Tweet like, hey, you messed the podcast up. Sorry.
People,
Yeah.
we may not know that they necessarily exist because we don't see them on YouTube when we do the show, but we have some very loyal and passionate podcast listeners. And if you don't have their product right, they're going to let you know, and I'm glad that they do because we get to fix those issues because of them.
Absolutely. All right, let's start with these Kirby press conference notes. I was unavailable today because I had 1,700 podcasts to do, but here we are. You know, we sent the homie Kirby. We had a homie in attendance. So what happened today at the presser, Kirby?
We got the boss man himself, of course, to start things off, and he came through and kind of with his opening statement was just, we are through with what we consider fall camp. We've kind of started with looking at opponents, things such as that. He said we have moved on to the special needs areas. So I guess after fall camp, they do an assessment of this is the areas where we think we're going to be deficient in and really hammer those in the lead up to this. Kind of unique. I've never heard them talk about that before. So special needs time for Georgia football right now. See, he's off camera smiling.
I'm smiling because I'm putting a Zen in my mouth, man. I'm just happy about this. Happy about this nicotine, dog. I don't know what you're talking about.
So first question he was asked is, what are your thoughts after scrimmage 2? And we got just a slam dunk Kirby Smart home run. Positives on both sides of the ball. Offense continues to be efficient in the red zone. Our defense created some havoc. Both sides of the ball continue to get better. Very pleased with the effort there. Just, the ultimate nothing burger from Coach Smart as normal. Was asked about Sky Helton and, how he's been able to continue his growth here in this program. And
FPE.
Oh, he had FPA. I think that's the second thing he brought up. He has FPE. He's not afraid to be challenged. He's a pleasure to coach and is in good spirits each day. He said it's important, though, that he does not become entitled. He noted that there are some instances that you have a lot of these young players come in and they're all fury. They're all trying to get, but once they've earned that pinnacle and once they've kind of reserved themselves the starting spot, they become entitled. They start to work less hard. So trying to make sure that does not happen. I want to give a shout out to Mark Weiser for what I think is just
friend of the show, Mark Weiser.
What'd he do? What'd Mark do?
Mark Weiser asked just straight up asked it. He goes, Kirby, who's this quarterback 2 behind Gunner?
Just straight up.
Straight up asked it.
Hey, what have you seen from both the Ryans? Just, hey, who's QB2?
He did follow up with, what have you seen from each of the quarterbacks? And of course, Kirby Smart gives all 4 guys have done a tremendous job. Made sure to emphasize that battle's not over. We want to see it in live action. He said whether that'll be in games or something we manufacture. So we might be getting non-con jerseys coming off the Ryans and Hezekiah soon because he wants live action. So
don't forget Bryson Beaver.
Mm-hmm. He mentioned that.
The future of the room.
He said the 4 guys. He said Bryson Beaver's really trying to earn more roles here, earn more reps. Both Ryans have done a good job and have had their bad and good moments. Nick Chubb's retirement. I think this was the one we were all kind of expected to be asked. And, I think Kirby Smart, of course, gave a great answer of this. Spent basically just 45 seconds discussing how incredible of a person he is, how much he has respected him, how much, it was more about respect than growth by the time he took over Nick Chubb because, he got the back half of his career. Nick Chubb was already a kind of a bona fide star when Kirby Smart took over. Said his demeanor and the way that he bought in was very tough for him in the initial years. He was still coming back from an injury at the time when Kirby Smart took over. And, you go from Mark Richt to Kirby Smart, who I'm not saying anything about Mark Richt, but I think the practices were definitely more intense. There were definitely more demands. So he's been an incredible ambassador for his hometown and his university. So nothing but glowing remarks about Nick Chubb.
By the way, Jonathan, Marcy Rian sent in a super chub and just said, hey, just wanted to say congratulations to Brooks and to Jay Will.
Thank you, Marcy.
So congrats.
Thank you.
Thank you for congratulating them. I appreciate you recognizing the hard work that these two have been. Just crazy.
Continue.
After Nick Chubb's retirement, he was asked about, hey, how have you seen the defensive pass rush improve? He said, we're not where we need to be in pass rush, but we are finding new ways to affect the passer, and we'll be utilizing them all year. So it might not just be edges and middle linebacker blitzes. They might throw in some safety work here, maybe even some corner blitzes. We know they love doing that. So new ways to get after the quarterback occurred in Kirby Smart. Talked about Gunner's progress. Said that he's been fine. He obviously has some plays that he wish he had back. He's had a good camp and is in a much better place as a leader and is more comfortable. This is year 2 of Gunner Stockton being a starter. I feel like after year 2, you kind of settle in. Year 1 is still, I've gotten this new car. I don't want to wreck it. I'm just trying to take care of it. Year 2, it's kind of, you're much more comfortable back there. Quintavious Johnson was someone we also got later in the day. They were asked, what did you see about Q coming out of high school? It was kind of an interesting answer he gave. We like the fact that he played Mike Backer, but was also dropping into space during the 7-on-7 camp. So obviously his athletic prowess was shown throughout his high school career, especially when he camped at Georgia. So it makes sense as to why.
And I'm not going to spoil anything, but I thought Quintavious probably gave one of the more eye-opening quotes about what he expects from himself this season, in my opinion. And I'm sure that you'll touch on it later. So again, I don't want to expose or spoil the segment by any means, but I thought he had one of the better quotes of the day.
Certainly. Was asked about Kyron Jones and, how he's managing being older. How do you manage these older guys? Kyron Jones, Drew Bobo, some of these older guys that are coming off of injuries. Made sure he noted that Kyron Jones is a product of our system. His best football was played this time last year. So apparently he was lighting up in fall camp last year. The foot injury changed it. Obviously, it didn't change, the player that he is. It just changed his volume. So the injury or not, those guys are on a pitch count. 5th year, 4th year guys, they'll take every snap if you let them, and you have to kind of wane them off to let younger players develop, especially in this era of college football where your 2s and 3s are more valuable than ever. was asked about, hey, the mic at practice, where are the origins of that and what inspired you to do that? Said, basically it was pretty simple that he just was tired of losing his voice and having headaches after practice. So
That's an interesting question.
yeah, I think it was one of those just like, let's see if we get a fun soundbite from him. The other question he was asked, and this is like, do you ever consider that people in a half-mile radius can hear you? And he kind of made a joke of like, by the third period, I don't care about any of that.
Pepsi bottle, Coca-Cola glass. I don't give a damn.
He does not. So if you're just so happen to be walking by Buttsman after practice, Kirby Smart's letting it rip. He does not care. Then we got the timely question, which I guess isn't really timely anymore. He was asked about LSU adding NFL players and if this is something Georgia is considering or looking into. He said, Georgia is not evaluating anyone on NFL rosters, and Kirby Smart goes, my thought is to each his own. I'm worried about our team and how we do things. If it doesn't change the culture of your team, more power to you. He did note that it's kind of interesting how it's not like 25 years ago where, one snap in one game. I think you referenced this in the SEC championship. One snap in one game burns an entire year for you. Now we've got guys that get four. You got 4 games for a while. Now it's 5 for 5. So, or he thinks it should be. So it is kind of interesting to note that if you keep changing the rules, there are going to be people that were retroactively negatively affected by that.
For sure.
That you want to have the effect for. So I understand. I think he's trying to say I understand where these NFL players are coming from. At the same point, if everyone just got to benefit retroactively from the rules, you would have major.
Yeah, I was waiting for him to be like, "Well, I didn't get a 5th year back."
He did say that. He was like, "I didn't get this when I was here." He mentioned it when I guess he was referring to the 2005 SEC championship. I guess they had a sophomore or something play or
somebody's got to get screwed every single time there's a new rule, and you can't just keep making lawsuits in local county courts to protect 16 people over the potential protection of the entire sport, which I appreciate the sentiment.
Yeah, I think you're completely right in that. Final question he was asked was about Terrell Foster and how he can contribute to this roster. He said he's already contributed to the team as one of the highest character individuals, had some raving reviews about him. Doesn't take a scout team rep any different than a normal rep. So those were the notes from Sir Kirby Smart. The next player we got was Isaiah Canyon. I think this was his first time in front of the mic as a Georgia Bulldog. So had plenty of questions to ask him. First one was, what was it that made you want to come to UGA? By the way, before we get into this, I'm creating a system now, and I call it the Kirby Smart brainwashing system. And from 1 to 5, I'm ranking you by how much you've been brainwashed, media trained. The personality has been sucked out of you.
Just zapped right out of you.
Yeah, your answer, you have 1-sentence answers, and that is it. You give nothing. You give no interesting quotes. Isaiah Canyon's sitting at about a 4.5 for this. Now, I know that he's not a Georgia product, but Isaiah Canyon was very buttoned up, very media-like, gave nothing. Hey, Isaiah Canyon, what was it about UGA that made you want to come here? They checked all the boxes for me. Great coaches and great competition. Bam. Next question. What was the biggest adjustment since getting to UGA? What does anyone think the answer is?
I saw the answer to this. He doesn't compare. He doesn't want to compare programs. He's not here to compare.
He's not here to compare programs. The biggest adjustment was moving out of the city. He said that Athens is very reminiscent of his hometown, so that was unique for him.
A lot more spacious. Mm-hmm. Drive a little faster.
I hope not. I don't know, dude.
Hopefully not.
They drive pretty fast.
Not as much traffic.
They drive pretty fast in Atlanta. This was, I think, the quote that's kind of going around and going more viral than anything. Did you follow UGA football when you were growing up? He said, I'm from the state of Georgia. If you're from Georgia, everyone watches Georgia football. So, he said that his family was excited when they got hit up by that. How similar is UGA and GT? And this is what you said. He's not interested in making comparisons. I want to be where my feet are. I'm focused on helping my team and doing what's important now. He was asked about what's it like competing against this secondary. You got Ellis Robinson, DeMello Jones, KJ Bolden, just stars all around. I just want to focus on doing my job, making plays when I'm called on to do so.
Buddy, they must have told him as he was walking in, if you get clickbaited for one thing, you're never speaking to the media again.
Could be. I mean, this was a just an exercise of that. The only time he smiled was when he tripped over his words and was like, "Oh, my fault, guys." Other than that, hands on the podium, just eyes straight forward. Next question.
Did he even smile?
That's the only time he smiled was when he kind of laughed at himself for messing up. Chemistry with Gunner. What's it like? How have you built chemistry with Gunner Stockton?
I've built chemistry with all the quarterbacks.
I'm very comfortable with Gunner Stockton. I'm very happy to be here and excited to get rolling with him.
Heck yeah, man.
What are some similarities to Gunnar and Haynes King? They're both leaders who have great respect of their team. They're very tough, and I'm super happy I got to play with such fantastic leaders. Now this one,
Cooking.
he is.
He's cooking.
He is. This one was actually kind of interesting. They talked about, which coaches recruited you from Georgia to Georgia Tech. Said that Coach Crawford actually recruited him to go to Georgia Tech, obviously in high school. Then, as Coach Crawford is now a Georgia Bulldog coach, he ended up having a rapport with Isaiah, and that's what led to him coming to UGA, or contributed it to at least. Question you always ask a wide receiver, hey, off-field criticisms, people doubting this room, what do you hear? We don't read much into it. When you're young and we're hungry and we are committed to helping the team win. Just this one, I was hoping this one was like, all right, maybe we'll get something out of this. Ellis Robinson last week kind of revealed he's a big trash talker, said nothing's off the table for the opponents. What are the kind of battles you guys have had at practice?
This is Mike Griffith question.
Yes.
Nailed it.
Man,
that guy's goated.
Man, all these DBs are good. Iron sharpens iron. Every time I line up against them, I know I'm getting a game rep.
They definitely locked London Humphreys and Isaiah Canyon in a room before this, and we're like, all right, London, just give him the abilities, give him the rundown, and just that, because that's such a London Humphreys type interview.
I got a better candidate for that. Raylan Wilson was locked in a room with this guy.
Well, I was trying to go position group, position group, but yes, Raylan, absolutely.
I think Raylan is a 6 on the 1 to 5 scale on You've Been Brainwashed.
Oh, yeah, dude. Raylan,
Raylan is and I all due respect, and I think he is attempting to do this, the most boring interview you'll ever have.
Oh, for sure.
Hands down.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he does.
Final question we got from Isaiah Canyon was, hey, Georgia Tech, big rivalry. You came from Georgia Tech. Were the players welcoming when you got to University of Georgia? I was welcomed with open arms. He knows a lot of these guys. A lot of these guys played in the same high school areas and, grew up together. So I think it kind of pulls the curtain back a little bit on that rivalry of, these teams hate each other when the game is on, they do, but outside of it, the majority of these players are friends. The third and final player we got was, third and final interview we got was Quintavis Johnson. We have a pronunciation update, by the way, so this is important.
Ooh.
Darren Ikinabon.
Okay.
Like Cinnabon, Ikinabon.
That's a whole lot easier to say than how we were saying.
Yeah. So Ikinabon is how we pronounce that from here on out.
I think it's the easiest way to say it. It's the way Kirby says it, which is Ike. Somebody get Ike.
We could also do that.
Yeah.
How are you now as a pass rusher? He says we as a room are more comfortable and are so much detail oriented. I would put Quintavis Johnson at about a 3.8. A little more personality here. Few longer answers, but still very obviously staying within the guardrails. I don't think we're ever going to get a 1, by the way. So the Kirby Smart brainwash, you're never getting in front of Mike if you're at a 1. Next question was, what can Chase Linton bring? Seeing him gain weight and play in the running game is very exciting. So seems like they're kind of excited what he can contribute in stopping the run. They asked him where his toughness comes from. Said from here, being here 3 years, seeing the practices has sharpened him, going through all the weight trainings, the demands. It's what led to his toughness. So that's kind of interesting where, seeing toughness develop over 3 years, that's kind of a trait that I think you're born with.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was asked about the Ty Simpson play in the SEC championship, where obviously he rolls out and Ty Simpson slides, and it's kind of the defining moment of that game, if you will. It's the moment where a lot of Georgia fans point to and say Alabama just quit. Quintavis' answer was, after watching that film, it wasn't anything crazy. I think it was a busted play. The running back was supposed to take the ball, and I just made sure to do my job and complete my 111. So completely undermined the majorness of that play. And I think he's right. Like, it was a busted play. Ty Simpson had nowhere to go. Instead of taking a hit, just slid. Makes sense. What did Mykel Williams and Chaz Chambliss teach you? Chaz showed him how to live through the game, how living through the game is something you do on and off the field. If you're not playing, if you're not working out, you got to be watching film. You got to be doing things to make yourself a better football player. Said film, days off, practice afterwards, stuff like that is what makes you a professional. Kind of said the same thing about Mykel Williams. Talked about Gabe Harris and his hunger. Said that's my buddy. That's a guy I look up to. He has a motor on that field that very few people can keep up with. So some nice words to Gabe Harris. Coach Knight and what he emphasizes. And this was just a laundry list of some really good quotes. Every play begins with sight. I think that was a good one to start with. Said see your keys, knowing your keys, making sure you're learning and studying the opponent, understanding pressure points, which is another thing that's interesting. It makes sense of being able to predict where the offense is going to react to the pressure you put on.
Oh, I thought he was talking about like I touch you here and you go to sleep.
That'd be pretty cool too. If you could do that in football game.
Every play to an offensive lineman, you'd be pretty efficient probably.
Probably get penalized a little bit though.
Would you?
Final
Putting dudes to sleep?
Yeah. Final quote he gave was get off is 90% of pass rush. How you start it is 90% of the job, which I agree with. I mean, acceleration is the most important thing, especially in those short areas. Said, how is success measured when getting the quarterback? We don't go off stats. We want to stop the run and eliminate explosives. So they have very obviously said stats do not matter here when it comes to sacks at the University of Georgia.
Did you talk about his comment about playing this year with Glenn Schumann again? Because that's a quote that I thought was the best.
I have this as my next one. So
I thought you said that was your final one.
Specific moments from picking Schumann's mind. Said, I learned something from him every day. He's so detailed to the point that it's almost next level type defense. What were you going to have comments
No,
on?
yeah, it's that quote. He said, this year I feel I can be so much better than I was last season, just knowing the defense and picking Glenn Schumann's mind and knowing why he's calling these plays in certain parts of the game and just knowing the game, knowing situational football. If there is a world where Contavious Johnson plays so much better than he did last year,
You're in trouble.
a defense is going to be all right.
And then the final question.
Knowing the why. We love that.
And then the final question, I think, then this was one that was just very obvious, like trying to let's get it. Let's see if we can get a quote out of Quintavious. Hey, are you excited for the season start? You've gone through spring. You've gone through fall camp. It's so close. Are you excited? We just treat every day like we treat every other day. Got to be willing to take advantage of the now. So that concludes today's presser notes brought to you by Kirby Smart.
Well, thank you.
Thank you to our friends at the Georgia SID department, and thank you to our friends over at SeatGeek. We love our friends over at SeatGeek. With over 35 million downloads, SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticketing app in the entire world. With over 70,000 events listed on SeatGeek, including concerts, sports, festivals, and much more, you can get in on the action over there at SeatGeek. College football is back. The MLB playoffs are around the corner, and the NFL and NBA seasons are not too far behind. Let's take a look. We got that up on the board over there. Let's take a look. What do you want to look at today, Jonathan? You want to look at Braves tickets? You want to look at Georgia tickets? What you want to look at? That Georgia-Oklahoma game is pretty important. I had someone reach out to me the other day and was like, hey, what should we do? Should I wait until right before the season starts, or should I get tickets now? Should I wait right before the game? And I said, dude, you might as well bite the bullet, and you might as well bite the bullet with our friends over there at SeatGeek. Right now, you can see, these are hefty. You can sit in the bleeds right about now for $381. Not a bad seat.
That's not
in the
a bad
house,
view
though.
right there.
Yeah, not a bad seat in the house.
It's not a bad seat in Sanford.
No, there isn't. And I would imagine this is going to get flexed. Do we know what time this game is going to be?
I think it is flexed at the moment.
Okay, it's flexed. So we'll find out as the game actually approaches. But right now, for $381, you can get in to that football game. And guess what? You can get 10% off with our promo code FilmGuide10. Again, that's promo code FilmGuide10. Make sure you click the link in the description of this video, download the app, and have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later. Thank you to our friends over there at SeatGeek. Shout out to those folks.
Absolutely.
Shout out to those folks. All right, what's next?
Do you want to do 11
That was
days?
hefty, by the way.
What?
This is a pretty expensive ticket.
I mean, it's going to be a top 15 matchup.
Was that surprising
that's
you?
your best home game this
Yeah,
year.
it is Georgia's
by
best home
far,
game.
so
Yes.
it makes sense. No,
Yeah.
it doesn't surprise me. I just wanted to show my concern for the common man, Jonathan.
Agreed.
Unlike yourself, who just gets to walk into the stadium whenever you want now because of who you are.
Yeah, and I earned that right. So
You're damn right.
I went through school. I probably, at the end of it, I might have paid more than anybody will for tickets to go to a game because I
That
paid
is
to go to
true.
school there.
That is true.
So
That's right.
you're still probably coming up on the better end of it.
The
by
degree
that,
of Georgia is not cheap.
but I get to sit in a nice, cozy press box, so I'm not too mad about that.
Next to me.
Yeah.
I'll be on the field for that one.
Ooh.
Do you want to do 11 days until kickoff, highlighting moments? Or I kind of want to do the running back rankings.
Let's hit it.
I want to see how you and I aligned with this one. Now, I didn't do like literally every single running back ranking. I just ranked top 10. My top 10 Kirby Smart running backs.
I ranked all the ones I could think of in my head, so we can just do it. We can stick with the top 10.
Who
'Cause Who
wants to go first?
I can go first.
Okay.
I think that the top 4, in my opinion, there's only 4 players that belong there. I don't think you can necessarily debate that another person should be in there. The order, maybe you can debate it somewhat, but I think there's 4 names that have to be in the top 4. My top 4 is Nick Chubb, number 1, Sony Michel, number 2, DeAndre Swift, number 3, and James Cook, number 4.
Ooh, so I was right with you until we got to number 4. So
I think James Cook, and I know that people kind of give Todd Monken a hard time for they feel like he wasn't utilized enough during his time.
Huh? People criticize Todd Monken.
Yeah, it
I didn't think
exists.
that was possible.
I actually saw it today.
Georgia fans criticize Todd Monken.
Oh, yes. Only basically about James Cook. That's about
okay.
it. But I think knowing the hindsight, too, of just how talented James Cook is, I think he is the 4th best running back, in my opinion, in the Kirby Smart era. So that's how my top 4 was. All right, going into number 5, I have Elijah Holyfield. Was a 1,000-yard rusher. Didn't really get a whole lot of him. I feel like you got some spurts until he was really the number 2 guy alongside DeAndre Swift, and both of them went for 1,000 yards. Really great season for both of them. I think he's one of the more underrated running backs in the Kirby Smart era.
yeah, I have Holyfield and Cook's flip-flop.
Okay.
I think Holyfield's career in Athens was just a bit more impactful. James Cook was obviously the X factor in 2021 and had a fantastic season, and you do not win the Natty without him. I think Elijah Holyfield as a traditional true running back was probably just a bit better, but I don't think it's something I'd die on a hill.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
the top 5 is the top 5.
Yeah, top 5 is top 5. I would agree with that. At number 6, I have Kenny McIntosh.
Same.
I think he's kind of viewed in the same way that James Cook is. I think he's a pretty underrated running back for the Kirby Smart era. Super talented. Really got to see his role and his talents really just got exposed in the 2022 season, and you saw how valuable of a player he was. I thought he was a great accent from going from James Cook to then Kenny McIntosh. I thought they really complemented each other really well, and you were able to stay very similar to how you were offensively because you had Kenny McIntosh.
Yeah, Kenny McIntosh is a guy for me that I feel like was a victim of just there was always a guy ahead of him. Like 21 was, hey, I've got Zamir White and James Cook. It was that way in 2020. In 2018, when I'm a freshman, we've still got, or 2019 when I'm a freshman, we've still got DeAndre Swift. We've still got Brian Herron. There's older guys ahead of me. It wasn't until he was kind of the veteran on the roster that he was able to showcase his skill sets. I think if you got 2 or 3 years of Kenny McIntosh being your RB1, he's probably way higher on this list, just a victim of circumstance.
Yeah, I agree. Now, number 7, I'm doing some projecting here. I have Nate Frazier here.
Okay, I didn't put any current players on.
I did because, and you could make the argument for Chauncey. I think Chauncey, depending on how this season goes and if he stays next year, same thing for Nate, they could certainly put themselves on this list. I'm projecting, though, the season that Nate Frazier will have this year, I think he will be in the top 10 of Kirby Smart running backs, and I think he will properly be at number 7. Maybe he goes higher than that. We'll just see how special it gets for him, but I do have him number 7 on my list. Number 8, I have Zamir White. Just kind of unfortunate. I think if the injuries don't happen, I think that he's probably higher up on this list. It's just unfortunate to how his Georgia career and college career got started, but still had some great moments, had some impactful moments during his time in the red and black. Number 9, I have Dejon Edwards, Mr. Consistent himself.
Ooh, okay.
Some very graceful moments from Dejon Edwards' time at Georgia, just icing games away. That's kind of what he was known for.
Death March.
Absolutely. Then him and Kendall Milton really became the 1-2 punch there for a little bit. And I thought he was a really solid running back. And then rounding out my top 10, I have Kendall Milton at number 10. You can make the same case that I said for Zamir White. Injuries just kind of hindered his ability at Georgia. That freshman season, though, it looked real freaky and it looked really special. And then we just stayed banged up throughout his career. But I thought his final season at Georgia, you really saw the potential that was there for him. And I thought he went out on a high note.
I was giving takes in 2020 of Kendall Milton is the best running back on this team.
Dude, it was nuts.
He was playing that well. I legitimately thought he was going to be the next great one. Unfortunately, obviously injuries and the inability to stay healthy, and maybe even the number change screwed him over. So
one of those football players for me that confirmed, as Jordan Tyson has, if you're a hamstring guy, you're a hamstring guy.
Yeah.
If your hamstring's constantly tweaking, your hamstring's just going to be tweaking. That's just what it's going to be.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate.
But no, I think, J.O., aside of Elijah Holyfield and James Cook being flip-flopped, I think we had the exact same list. I had Trevor Etienne at 10 just because Nate Frazier was not on my list.
None of those backs looked prettier in a Georgia uniform than Travis Etienne.
Trevor.
Dude was dripped out every single game.
Yeah.
Every photo I ever took of that dude was like, whoa,
I don't know.
DeAndre Swift has some
DeAndre
drip.
Swift might be
Yeah.
the most aesthetically
Yeah.
pleasing Georgia running back.
Nah, the visor on everything about A-Chain was just like, my God, that guy looks good in a Georgia uni.
The turf tape, his build, the number 7, he had like I think DeAndre.
You're probably right. I wasn't on the field during those games. Hell, I was barely in the stadium in those years.
If you were,
For some reason, got credentialed to Notre Dame and then no other football games.
At least you got that
Wonder
one.
what happened
Yeah,
there.
I mean, at least you got that one. That was
Yeah,
a
I
good one to
did.
get. But yeah, no, I think DeAndre Swift is probably the most aesthetically pleasing. But yeah, no, I think it's pretty accurate. I think it's pretty telling that you and I had virtually the same list. So that was a fun little exercise I did. I figured we would do that because of Nick Chubb's retirement, considering the majority of these guys are no longer playing football or have moved on elsewhere in their careers. So
I want to do some of these questions from the Discord. Patreon.com/Brooks Austin. Who besides, this comes from the Fish Tank guy. He's in the chat right now. Most recent chat from the Fish Tank guy. No, we will not have a fish tank inside this studio. Unless maybe you can get me like some type of On3 Hard Rock Bet logo embedded inside the fish tank. And you can also promise to come in and clean it whenever it needs to be cleaned.
that's a bigger thing.
and feed the fish.
And feed the fish. You got it. So basically live here.
Those fish would last.
But I ain't got a place for you to
3
sleep.
days.
So yeah,
What if we have?
probably gonna have a problem
We could
doing
rig
that.
up a Doc Brown automatic feeding system for him.
Sure, perhaps, perchance, maybe. Who besides Chris Cole is going to be the best pass rusher on this team? It's a massive question going into this season. Probably going to be Quintavious Johnson, who is not in his list. He says Zayden, Chase, or Linton.
I was going to go Zayden probably.
Yeah.
He feels like just especially considering what Georgia's linebacker room looks like now with Chris Cole and Raylan Wilson and Justin Williams and Terrell Foster. I think that room is kind of spoken for, and they're really going to be able to focus Zayden Walker and the pass rushing ability of him.
All right, next question. Let's see here. A lot of people didn't respond. So, like, guys, when I do this and I'm scrolling through Discord during live shows, it's best when you respond to the @everyone. That way your question pops up in big orange letters. Who are the wide receivers that step up? It's probably going to have to be outside. We know who's going to start. It's probably going to be Isaiah Canyon, London Humphreys, and then Zacoby White-Helton in the slot. So I think what's up?
Did Zacoby White? Is that someone who has to step up?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I would go with.
Absolutely.
Because I think we know at least Isaiah Canyon and London can play above average college football. We're going to have to find out about Zacoby from can you do this at a high rate, which I think he can.
I think you also need a guy like Craig Dandridge to make major plays for as a freshman this year.
Well, I think the three names for me would be Zacoby, Taylor, and Wiley. Like those are the three guys we need to step up this season. It's those three players.
Sean McVay is running a lot of 13 personnel that he runs out of it. Is UGA taking a page out of this playbook? Here's the thing, like, I don't have the personnel splits for me. I'm sure there's a stat you can pull up for me. But the interesting thing about what the Rams do is that they package their formations to make them look like 13 personnel, and they're asking wide receivers to do almost tight end-like things. That's why Puka and Cooper Kupp have been so vital for that organization for so many years. I know Cooper's gone, but that's why Puka is so important, because he'll get in there and quote-unquote do the dirty work against inside linebackers, and he'll insert on inside linebackers during during run protections and run reads, and then their play action works off of that type of stuff. So, I mean, they bunch a good bit. They have for the last several years. But I still don't think it's hard. And Kirby's talked about this. It's really hard to be an explosive passing football team when you're in traditional 13 personnel. Like, you can make it look like it's, 3 tight ends when you're actually in 12 personnel and one of those is Ethan Barbour. And then, yes, we can still be a vertical threat football team, but I would be hard pressed as a defensive coordinator to do anything other than play up close and play up tight when you have 3 big-bodied tight ends on the field.
Yeah, I mean, I think another thing that makes Georgia so hard to defend is it's hard to classify what the personnels are. Like, there were moments where Georgia had 3 tight ends on the field last year in their heavy packages, but it was kind of 22 personnel because Ethan Barbour's lineup as your fullback. How do you classify that as 22, or is that 13 with a fullback or a tight end in the backfield?
When Ethan got hurt, they moved it to a traditional 22 personnel with McCray at fullback. So I think that's what they were going for. Ethan Barbour can play running back.
Yeah,
we found that out this season from our chat.
Yes,
so that's good. John T. Alpha says, how many drives until the first fire Bobos come out?
Well, how many plays until we throw a screen?
When the G banner splits and the team enters the field?
I would say 45 seconds from the live catching up to what we just said.
Yeah. I mean, probably. Realistically, it's going to be when Georgia ultimately has their first possession of the game and it's a 3-and-out. I mean, honestly, that's when it starts. As soon as the first 3-and-out happens, that's when it starts.
Zion asks, leading tackling unit on defense. Instead of doing that, I'm going to tweak your question, Zion. Who leads the team in tackles this year?
Ooh, that's a good.
Raylan?
See, I would typically say, because Georgia's always had like a guy coming in the third year at linebacker. It might be Raylan. I hope it's not KJ.
I'd go Raylan. I think he's going to be in he'll have the most opportunities, in my opinion, to have the most tackles.
This comes from Dante. What if the receiving core just really isn't good enough? You better hope and I think it is. Your running game is going to be good enough, and your defense is going to be good enough that I don't think these quote unquote problems will arise until someone's good enough to score 38 plus points on you. And I don't know how many teams are going to be able to do that this year.
And it's such a vague. What does good enough mean? Good enough to win a national title? Well, there have been worse wide receiver rooms to win national championships in the last 10 years. So, what does good enough mean, really? I think what matters is if the rest of the roster is good enough to kind of alleviate some of the weaknesses that we may think the team has.
Yeah, if your tight end room is a room full of difference makers, like if Elias Williams, Lawson Lucky, Ethan Barbour, and all those guys are making big time plays, and the wide receiver room just doesn't necessarily live up to some of the hype that we've seen, then I think you're going to be fine in the passing department. But if you don't see it from either one of those, then yeah, you're going to be hindered quite a bit as an offense.
Let's see here. MMAZ. Was that be Mamaz asks, what position groups at the end of the season will be the most surprising looking back?
I think by season's end, and what I mean by season's end, I'm talking like when NFL Combine rolls around, I think you're going to get really the NFL draft, you're going to get a really good idea of just how talented this secondary is and was. Like when you start seeing where Ellis Robinson is going in the draft, where KJ Bolden goes, when Khalil Barnes is off the board, when DeMello Jones is off the board if he declares, like you're going to get a really good grasp of just how good these guys were and like how good of a player Kyron Jones was. Like he may not be a first round, second round, third round draft pick, but you're going to get a feel for just how talented this room is.
I'm going to say it's the tight end room because I feel like we know how talented the tight ends are. A large portion of the fan base knows how talented the tight ends are, but the majority of the country doesn't. Like no disrespect to this guy at all. People kind of point at Lawson Lucky and be like, yeah, he's the most talented tight end in that room, right? And Lawson Lucky might be the most developed and most, highest or highest floor tight end in that room right now. But like the common fan does not know about Elias Williams. The common fan does not know about Jaden Riddell or Ethan Barbour or, I'm going to throw him in there just because he's listed as it right now, like Caden Prothro. I think the tight end is going to be the most surprising room to the national media because it's like, well, we knew about this Lawson Lucky guy and heard about Elias Williams, but oh my God, there's 5 of them. I think that's going to be the sentiment.
Let's see here. Breakout player on offense and defense.
Ooh, breakout player.
I think offensively, it's probably going to be Craig Dandridge.
I was about to say he's
who,
the most.
In our next question, gets a name change, so stay tuned for that one.
Oh,
we've tweaked his last name apparently in Discord to a heavy tune of emotes. I think it's gonna be Craig Dandridge on offense. Defensively, Kyron Jones is gonna put someone on a gurney. At some
a
point.
Breakout candidate for Kyron Jones. I kind of like that.
I like that, yeah. Deserved.
Our next one comes from Josh Farrell, who says, will Craig Dangerous get legitimate playing time this year if CJ or Talon doesn't pan out early. I don't think it has anything to do with CJ
I don't
talent.
think that
The kid going to play because the kid is dangerous.
Yeah, I don't think it would be
You like that? Craig Dangerous?
I like it.
I like it.
Dangerous. DD.
What
There's a lot of
we
avenues
had Yakarai last year. What about Jacoby Whitehill?
He's got to earn that.
Yeah.
We can't just.
I'm saying, well,
you can't just bestow.
Craig Dangerous has to earn Craig Dangerous. Craig Dangerous.
Well, I mean, okay, fair.
I mean,
we've got it set up for him.
How far can the O-line and running backs take the Dogs' offense? To the top. Because the Dogs is on top. No, in all seriousness, we are in a defense era of college football, despite what your people want to tell you about offensive football. We are in defense, control the clock, minimize mistakes, squeeze the life out of your opponent era of college football. And you can run your ball and play. You can run the ball and play defense on the way to a national title. That is a fact.
yeah, I was going to say defense still absolutely matters. I mean, it is like if there is one defining stat, I feel like that dictates who is going to likely be playing for a national title or who at least be one of the favorites to win a national title when the playoff rolls around. Whichever team has one of the best defenses, like that, people look at the offense and the weapons and the quarterbacks that people have. Defense has always told the story of who will win a national title, almost always.
And I think that's why people were kind of expecting Georgia to have a deeper run last year. Now, obviously, the defense did not play like the best defense in the country when that game occurred. But no, I think that this team can be carried to a national championship by strong running defense and offensive line play. Like, go watch the 23 Michigan Wolverines. That I think that's kind of what you would hope this team looks like. Last year we said 24 Notre Dame of like just a scrappy team that's never in long third downs and just efficiencies you to death. I think Georgia this year looks more like 23 Michigan.
This one comes from Zakai Helton Enjoyer. We already kind of answered that one. Jamil Sire, a known stay. Let's go to Morton _Av. Sorry. You laughing at my indecisiveness?
Yeah.
Who's getting the targets on 3rd and 6+? I'm going to start with London Humphreys, and then we'll find out after that.
The guy who's open.
Yeah, that's a great answer. Who is the leader on defense? This comes from Jamil Sire.
KJ probably.
Yeah, I would say
or
KJ or Raylan.
Raylan's a quiet leader. KJ's probably the more vocal one.
Yeah, I'd say those two guys are your biggest leaders.
Is Craig Dangerous the one to break the 1,000-yard curse?
Oh, gosh.
It ain't happening this year.
Not happening this year. Here's what I will say. When he committed to Georgia and I got done watching the high school tape, I texted somebody in the building. I said, this is going to sound crazy, but I think that kid might be Devontae Smith. And the immediate response was, HR, get him. HR, get him. Like, hey, we like him, but come on, man. Devontae Smith, like, chill out. I sent the same exact text knowing that the person had forgotten it just after fall camp had kind of kicked up. And I said, hey, man, little Devontae Smith in that game. You know what the response was?
What?
A little thicker.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't get, hey, you're going to melt the cup. I got like dude's a little thicker than that, but he is a dude. So sounds like that's going to be a hit, no doubt. Will Georgia finally have a kickoff return this year?
I'm going to go yes.
A kickoff return.
Kickoff return for a
touchdown. I'm going to go yes.
I feel like kickers have gotten way too good on kickoffs for like these. You don't see them very often.
It'll be on punt. And I think last year was like everyone, like you knew Zachariah Branch by the time Georgia got, like everyone was like, oh God, don't punt to this guy. And they made concerted efforts to not do that. I don't think Jacoby White-Helton has that same aura about him. I think he'll return one this year.
They started kicking away from Branch pretty early on.
Yeah.
This one, it will probably be one of our last ones. What's the one game that worries you the most? Oklahoma. What's the game that doesn't worry you as much but scares you? Florida.
I think that's a great answer.
Yeah, I think those would be the two answers that I'd probably go with as well.
All right, I think I'm good on Discord questions.
All right. I want to go ahead and get this segment off the show sheet because I've come up with some candidates of players who are most known for specific performances. I know, but I want to do this one because, like I said, I did the homework. I picked out some moments and players.
We can do it tomorrow. We're only going to have 11 days.
Classic J. Will, a me guy.
Yeah, you know me, just selfish as all.
Hey, we can go over the 10 o'clock limit. I don't have any place to be.
Okay.
Jay was a good.
I think we can do a little bit of both.
We don't have a hard out at the end of this.
Well, maybe I'll give
I need everyone to hit that thumbs up.
my list of players who are most known for specific moments. You can save yours for another time.
Okay.
If you want to do
I'll
that.
save mine for tomorrow.
Okay.
In that way.
First one I have. Jacob Eason's touchdown versus Missouri.
Ooh.
He would have had another one. Don't have to dive into that one. What could have been didn't happen ultimately.
You know, it is funny because he is kind of tied to that. Like, that is the defining Jacob Eason.
Like,
moment.
that is the Jacob Eason play.
Like, he didn't really do anything in the win
It
against
was a
Auburn.
dot.
It was.
Didn't do anything
On
against
fourth down. Had to have it.
Yeah, didn't do anything in the win against Auburn. Played well against UNC, but it wasn't like that was his. That's the Nick Chubb game. So
Yeah.
I think that's a good one.
Okay. I think this one is definitely one of these. Maurice Smith, pick 6 versus Auburn.
Yeah, Maurice Smith will forever be the pick 6 against Auburn. No doubt about that. 1,000%.
This one might be a little controversial, but in my opinion, this is him. Now, he had some other great moments as a Georgia player, but Brian Herrion's diving catch versus Florida.
So, yes, but I also think Brian Herrion had plenty of. I always associate Brian Herrion with like the coming out party in UNC of like,
Yeah.
wow, we've got Nick Chubb, Sony Michelle. I don't even know if DeAndre Swift had made a play. No, he didn't. But like we've got Nick Chubb, Sony Michelle, and this Brian Herrion guy. DeAndre Swift didn't join the roster in 2017. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But like, oh my gosh, that's what I remember Brian Herrion for. But the Florida play is by far his best play.
Yeah, his best, like most memorable play.
I also remember him in 2016 being the only good thing about that Ole Miss game.
Yeah, it's true
Like
too.
that was disgusting.
Georgia just doesn't have great luck when they go on the road to Ole Miss.
He's never won there.
He has not. Has an opportunity to do that this year. Nas Stackhouse near pick 6 versus Missouri.
I have this one.
Okay.
If you say the name Nazir Stackhouse, everyone immediately goes to 2023 Missouri, where it's like, oh my gosh, he was 5 yards away.
So close.
So close.
Just couldn't get the job done. Grayson Lambert completion record versus South Carolina.
Yeah, this is definitely one.
That is it for him.
I've never watched this game start to finish. I might need to.
Yeah, you should.
Because this was my 8th grade year, and we had a game that night. And I remember Georgia had lost to South Carolina like 3 out of the last 4 years. It was a big game. And I remember going to one of the older brothers on the sideline. Like every time I'd come off the field, like, what's the score? What's the score? Because it started out like it was a back and forth game, and then Georgia just ended up killing them. And so finally he was like, dude, they're going to win. It's fine.
And it was so early in the process with Grayson Lambert that it was at a point in time where it's like, we got a demon. We found this guy from Virginia. It wasn't a demon.
That game had me thinking that Georgia was going to be handling Alabama when they came into town 2 weeks later.
Not quite.
Tough.
My final one, and I might get corrected here, but I don't think I will just because this is the play. This is the play. Like, this is one of the Georgia plays. Lindsey Scott versus Florida.
Oh, for sure.
That Lindsey Scott. You just
throw-
say the name, you hear the call, you see. Yeah, like you are like even for me, someone who was not alive for that game or for that play, I'm taken to that moment as soon as you say Lindsey Scott.
Fun fact, Georgia's offensive line in that game averaged 250 pounds.
Wow. Makes sense. Different era.
Their back was 230.
Yeah. Makes sense.
But yeah, that's my list. There's plenty of other more candidates, but
Yeah.
that is the list that I compiled.
I'll hit my list tomorrow because I think there's some good ones.
Okay, now we can do 11 days till kickoff.
I got to be honest. I just don't want to talk about Aaron Murray.
Yeah,
I
valid.
mean, the quintessential number 11, the GOAT, the legend. I think the quarterback, and you probably can attest to this as well. Like growing up, that was your quarterback.
Oh, for sure.
And you never see 4 seasons of a starting quarterback anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do, by the time that comes, it's like, just get this guy out of
I think too. Like I think Aaron Murray has aged very well for the era of
Oh, he's
football.
still incredibly handsome.
Well, I wasn't talking about
You were talking about his play.
like
My
his
bad.
actual
My bad.
football
That's on me.
career. Obviously, Aaron Murray still is easy on the eyes if you want to go that way, but
I mean, you did. I didn't.
you did. But okay, his career, like, because quarterbacks that played in that era of college football, they kind of get looked at a different. Like guys like AJ McCarron, it's like, well, that guy was just surrounded by great players. He was just an okay quarterback. Aaron Murray, like, you don't hear people say like Aaron Murray wasn't all that great. He wasn't that much of a dude. Like people still talk about him gracefully for the era of football that he played in, and that makes me happy. I'm glad that people appreciate that.
And I think that's also because he was on some pretty bad football teams. Like the 2012 or 2010 team that went 6-7, the 2011 team that by the grace of God, won the East that year after starting 0-2, like stuff like that. Aaron Murray gets a lot of respect for that because he was someone who was just willing those teams to victory. So yeah, Aaron Murray definitely deserves a shout. Probably is the greatest number 11 in Georgia history of all time.
Yes.
But we would be remiss if we did not also mention Jake Fromm, a guy who kind of ushered in the Kirby Smart era of quarterback play. Now, I understand he's a controversial figure. I understand within the Georgia fan base, I understand some people thought he should not have been starting all 3 years. Maybe the 2019 season was not his best work, but when you look at Jake Fromm's body of work as a starting quarterback, you don't have the success you had in 2017. You don't have the kind of the ushering in of Kirby Smart without him, and I think that he is one of the more solid and has been kind of one of the more reliable quarterbacks that Georgia's had in this decade.
Mm-hmm. There's also been some great memorable players to wear number 11 too during the Kirby Smart era. Now, say what you want, Arian Smith was responsible for some of the more iconic moments in this decade. Obviously, his play against Ohio State needed a quick, immediate touchdown. He provided that to you. Had a great play against Tennessee as well. I always think about when they did the behind-the-scenes look of Georgia from that season, and Kirby Smart's giving Arian the pep talk before the game, like, all right, when your moment's called, like they had already dialed it up. They knew exactly what they were going to do. They had the play written up. They just had to call it at the perfect time, and they did. It's like, when your moment calls, just calm down, kid. Nobody can run with you. Makes a great catch in that game for a big explosive. And then Darian Kendrick as well played really well in the playoff stretch, played really well for Georgia altogether that season. Had some great plays, though, in Georgia's route to a national title, one of the best transfers, you would say, most impactful transfers Georgia's had under Kirby Smart.
Kind of goes under the radar, too.
Yeah.
Like, you talk about great. Now, I understand he only had one season, and it wasn't like a super duper flashy season like a DeAndre Baker or anything like that. But you throw names into there. Like Darian Kendrick's 2021 season, I think rivals like a Dalen Everett's 2026 or 2025 or like even like a Kamari Lassiter 2022 season.
Yeah.
Like it's up there with some of the best of the Kirby Smart era. So yeah, Darian Kendrick absolutely deserves his flowers. I think the name that you did not mention, that I'm frankly shocked someone like you hasn't mentioned it.
Jalen Walker.
Okay, yes, Jalen Walker. Jalen Walker is one of those, the epitome of was a good player until he became just an absolute dog.
Yeah.
I felt like the first 2 seasons of Jalen Walker in 2022 and 2023 were very much like, all right, he's a really solid player, really solid linebacker. And again, they didn't really know where to put him or where to utilize him until 2024 when it all clicked. And my God, did it click.
Yeah, I was about to say, I can remember us talking in that preseason leading up to that season, the 2024 season, of it was like we didn't really talk about Jalen Walker being what he was. In fact, we kind of talked about, we don't know where the playing time is for Jalen Walker. We don't know how he's going to be utilized. We don't know where you're going to put him on the field because they already have so many great players on defense. And he ended up being the most impactful player on that defense. Had you not had him that season, who knows how it goes. I mean, one of the most remarkable seasons you've seen from a Georgia linebacker. So impactful, such a great football player. And I'm glad it ended up panning out the way it did for him because he was a freak.
Certainly. That's all the players that I could think of that had, super impactful careers wearing number 11. I do have 2 11 references. I think we hit it on it already. The 2011 season, it started out as like, I remember being at the age of like, oh, this is Mark Richt's getting fired this year. They started with the god awful jerseys in the Georgia Dome, losing to Boise State. Of like, dude, I don't even know who Boise State is. Why are we losing to this team? Then I think you followed that up with, was it Mississippi State that they lost to as well in 2000? No, it was South Carolina. Excuse me. It was South Carolina because it was the 45-42 game where Aaron Murray fumbled in the fourth quarter. Yeah, I remember now. Thank you. Mississippi State loss was in 2010. But yeah, start out 0-2 is like, well, Mark Richt's cooked. They went 6-7 last year. Pulled the nose up by some way. Was able to beat a Florida team that was not very good. Beat Auburn. Got revenge against them for 2010. Beat them at home, actually. That's the Sanders Cummings or Bakari Rambo pick 6 game.
Mm-hmm.
Then obviously you go to LSU in the SEC championship and the Honey Badger happens. But before that, I mean, like, it was a fantastic season. I think it was one that kind of reinstilled faith of Mark Richt and Georgia football and Aaron Murray of like, okay, maybe things will work. And obviously 2012 was a complete turnaround from that. So that season is special to me. And then the other date I have in September 11th, 2021. I understand that is a very sacred day for a lot of people for understandable reason. September 11th, 2021, Stetson Bennett starts against UAB. And it's kind of the beginning of the mailman takeover of the he's being doubted and he just keeps delivering. I think he started that game 5 for 5 with 4 touchdowns and like 100.
Oh, the stats were incredible. It was one of probably like something you will never see again.
Yeah, it's also a special game for me because it is the first game I watched as a Georgia football student. It was the first time I got to go into the stadium as a student. I heard the battle hymn, all that, got to be in the crowd and say like, I am not here as a fan. I am here as a student at the University of Georgia. Moment I will always remember. So those are my number 11.
I can vividly remember, too, the week leading up to that UAB football game. I mean, it was like, I think it was my first season being a part of the Patreon and just the nugs that were dumped throughout the week. Who's going to play? JT's hurt. Is he going to play? Oh, we got Carson Beck. And then I will never forget getting the final nug of it's Stetson Bennett that's starting. And just the hell that was raised on social media, the hell that was raised in Discord of, really? Like, this is who we're going with. We're doing this one again.
5 for his first 5, 205, 4 tutties.
Yeah. It was just incredible.
But he was unconscious.
The 180 that occurred, like, literally 5 minutes into that football game.
Because it was a 3:30 kick. I'll never forget.
I'd call it a 90-degree turn by the end of that first game. They were like, all right, but it's UAB.
True.
And then he wins a national title, and they're like, wait a minute, he's coming back. And then there's, some people on social media are like, just get out of here, dude. It's the Brock Vandegrift show now.
They wanted Carson Beck at that point.
Whoever they wanted, it was wrong.
Fair enough.
True. Facts.
You had something else, didn't you?
I was going to say, the story I was going to tell from the Stetson Bennett game was,
Please do.
It was a 3:30 kick. I remember being in a frat house. I'm not going to reveal the frat house. Being in a frat house of like people talking, like it was like a council going on. We're sitting around a pool table, and it's like, it's Carson Beck, dude. Like yada yada, like going back and forth. And the announcement wasn't made until like just a few hours before kickoff. Like the whole week, it was like, who's starting? JT Daniels is out. Who's starting in this game? And I remember when it was Stetson Bennett, one of the inhabitants of this frat house took the pool cue and started breaking things. And that's all I can say with that story. But I just remember being like, Stetson Bennett enraged people.
Oh,
the thought of Stetson Bennett starting like made some Georgia fans so angry that they caused vandalism.
I mean, not only that, I mean, I think Georgia quarterbacks in general have always just kind of enraged people because I can remember my first game attending as a student when Carson Beck was the starting quarterback. There was a group of guys behind me for that game, and we were playing a nobody, I want to say. I don't even remember who it was, but it wasn't that meaningful of a football game. And just the names that they were calling him, I mean, from jump. And it's not like he was necessarily playing bad, but they just clearly did not want Carson Beck being the starter that season. And mind you, this was the 2023 season when Carson Beck dang near threw for 4,000 yards and almost led Georgia to a playoff appearance had they not lost a conference title game. So they just enraged people in general, unfortunately.
Oh, sorry. Every 30 seconds there's a new Lane Kiffin tweet.
He's tweeting again?
No. There's a new tweet about how Lane Kiffin was caught and maybe potentially lying on national television today. But it's all good. We good?
I believe we are.
All right, we'll be back tomorrow for another live show. We got What If Wednesday. We'll also have a film study coming out tomorrow morning that I can guarantee you will probably be one of the least watched film studies we released during our series. Any Husky fans in the chat tonight? We might have some tomorrow. Hope you show up. Hope you hit that like button before you leave today. I love you. Most importantly, Jesus loves you. We'll see you next time.
I got to meet Carson at Paulie's. Interesting.